It's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's your boy, Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. My name is Chris Avalon, if you haven't heard already. And for those of you who are tuning in the first time, this is basically a show we get in on all the things going on in celebrity news, pop culture, whatever is trending on these here internets. We chat about it on this show. So without further ado, you can please to be a solid and hit that like button, that subscribe button, and also smash that notification button so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. And I got a couple of topics I put together this morning that we could chat about because I'm pretty busy. So I was like, let me just jump on here and give you all a show. So yeah, we got more Diddy news. There was a story from Associated Press that came out within the last hour. So we're going to break that story down, plus all the other things that was coming out in regards to that. So yeah, we got the Diddy stuff. Plus, we got some Jennifer Lopez news. So apparently, she is looking to bend its inspiration for her next album. Child. Now, if this is me now, flop, because you use Ben as inspiration, what makes you think the breakup album is going to be even better? But we're going to break that down. Plus, an old video is resurfacing when Jennifer Lopez was on Wendy Williams. And when Wendy was trying to get Jennifer and Puffy back together, Guadalupe let me know. She was like, not in these streets, not in my lifetime, not as long as I breathe on this planet. So we're gonna talk about that. So we already knew like Guadalupe, she was on it. She was not here for Puffy. So we got that story. Plus, Dolly Parton is weighing in on Beyonce being snubbed for from the CMAs with her Cowboy Carter album. Pharrell is breaking his silence on, speaking of Beyonce, on Kelis not wanting Milkshake being used on Energy, which was on the Renaissance album. So we got his thoughts on that. Plus, we have a follow up to the Monster series that was on Netflix because we have a new one coming out, I think this week or whatever, if I'm not mistaken. And Charlie Hunnam is playing a serial killer. So we're going to be talking about that. That has been based on, well, a lot of iconic horror movie killers have been based on this character that he's about to play. So we're gonna get into that. Plus, we got a lot of how you doing news. So Chappell Moan again is bitching. Somebody she don't want a Grammy. Well, don't give the bitch one at this point. Um, and we got some drag race news. Plain Jane is shading the Emmys for RuPaul's Drag Race not winning an Emmy this year and then going to the Traitors. We're gonna break that down. Plus, Bob the drag queen throwing shade at people on social media who's telling her as a drag artist to stay away from children. So we're gonna talk about that. Plus, Agatha All Along is coming out today. I don't know how many episodes. I think maybe it's just gonna be one. I don't know yet, but it comes out today. And Joe Locke was on the show. Is feels that the MCU has been behind the times in regards of LGBTQ plus representations. We're gonna talk about that, and plus, you already know Troye Sivan is currently on tour with Charli XCX, and he's responding to homophobic claims that he's basically on tour with her to basically hit Grinder at every stop. So we're gonna talk about that and a whole lot more. So as I said before, please hit that like button, that subscribe, and also smash the notification button so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. And ooh, Onyx is up. It said, okay, I'm annoyed at this point. I feel like how long has Stranger Things been off? Like I feel like Stranger Things has been off for like 3 years, 4 years at this point. Do people even care? Like I think if it comes on, I'll watch it just because I've been so invested that I can move on. But at this point, I don't even remember the plot of last season or what happened to anybody. Like y'all been see, this is what irritates me about Netflix. Y'all be so quick to cancel something after one damn season, not giving it a chance because the way y'all roll out y'all shows, this whole let's throw all 8 episodes up at once does not work. And then you wonder why y'all have to cancel shows because your little whatever it is, this little concept that y'all doing is not working. But other streaming services have shown that if you put up maybe the first 2 or 3 episodes and then you do a week to week, that actually helps the show. That actually helps gain momentum and track with fans more so than this model that y'all are doing. So I don't like it. And they said that was confirmed on August 4th, so about 3.5 months left of filming. I'm like, oh, Jesus, how many episodes? The way these mother flowers are filming, the show better be like, y'all better be giving us at least a good 15, 16 episodes, because I can't think, like, y'all been filming this show for feels like over longer than a year, and y'all basically, and it's for 8 episodes. I'm like, what's taking y'all so long? Unless every episode is gonna be like an hour and a half, 2 hours, I don't understand why it's taking so long for y'all to shoot a series like Stranger Things. My heart described the 8 episodes as 8 movies. They've been filming 8 episodes for nearly. That's why I was like, unless that's what I said. Unless y'all not every episode is 90 minutes to 2 hours, then I'm like, okay. But y'all taking too long. But anyway, let's move right into the show and let's talk about the diddler. So y'all already know, we already broke down all the details. If y'all want to get all the breakdown of everything that has come out so far, you can watch yesterday's episode, which I want to say thank you to a lot of you who first timers, all that good stuff, who came in and watched yesterday's show and was hitting that like button, and the episode blew up. I guess everybody want that Diddy tea. So it's definitely helped with the algorithm and the show and all that other stuff. But in the latest stuff, there have been some celebrities who have spoken out in regards of what was going on. So let's go through what some of them said real quick. Now, we already know 50 Cent, who can't stand the diddler, basically tweeted a photo of him and actor Drew Barrymore, caption, "Here I am, keeping good company with Barrymore, and I don't have 1,000 bottles of lube at my house." This is, the reference to the fact that Diddy had all that damn lube in his house and the baby oil. I still don't understand the point of the baby oil. I get it that we black and black people get ashy. Trust and believe, I get ashy in the wintertime too, even though I'm light skin. But what you get all that damn baby oil for? Like, I really want to know. Like, are y'all doing oil wrestling and stuff in the middle of the floor while you having your little freak offs with your pink booger sugar? Which that's that Tucci. Which I told y'all what that does, because there was a story that I saw on, I think it was one of the New York news channels via YouTube. I think it was ABC Eyewitness News or whatever. And it was talking about when you take that drug, it basically feels like they're ripping you in two different directions, because they have like an upper and a downer in there. So you got that, what is it? That animal tranquilizer, which is special K, mixed it. It got that Fenty's up in there. Everything is in there, but the actual booger sugar, which I don't understand why they call it pink cocaine when everything is in it but the cocaine. So, and they said when they arrested Diddy at the hotel, he had that in his possession. So that kind of makes me wonder, was you trying to have one last freak off before you ended up in handcuffs? I wouldn't be surprised. That man's got an addiction. And here's another thing too. I'm relatively amazed at his big age of pushing 60 that this man is a functioning drug addict. Because if you, and let's be clear, that's exactly what he is. Because if you out here doing Tucci, if you out here staying up for days on end, having freak offs, which is kind of like what the homosexuals do whenever, when y'all party and play. And for those of y'all who are heterosexual that are jumping in, party and play is basically when you do crystal meth and you have sex with someone of the same gender, and y'all can stay up days on end hunching. So I kind of wonder if that's like the equivalent of what he was doing with that. So, and then also radio host Charlamagne the God said, and one of my friends said, before I get to Charlamagne the God, I saw that one of my friends was like, "Oh, I can't wait to hear what the Breakfast Club." I said, "Why do you want to hear them?" First of all 3 of them over there are dunces. First of all, well, sidebar, I did hear that Jess Hilarious is on maternity leave because she, I guess, had her baby. I don't give a fuck. I don't like that bitch any damn way. So whatever she doing, let her stay over there on her maternity leave. But I also said, like, I don't like Charlamagne, because Charlamagne, I feel like he just be saying, for somebody who is supposed to be Mr. Political and all this other stuff, a lot of 9 times out of 10, he don't know what the hell he be talking about on that show. And don't even get me started on DJ Envy. I don't know how he a Virgo, but he the dumbest person on the damn planet. What half the stuff that comes out his damn mouth. And speaking of cases, I wonder what's going on with his case in regards of that little Ponzi scheme that he was doing with them houses out in Jersey. I need to dig into that. But anyway, so radio host Charlamagne the God basically said during Monday's segment of the Breakfast Club, he said, if Combs is convicted of racketeering and sex trafficking, there will be others involved who will be probably going to jail. And singer Aubrey O'Day, who has been outspoken, we did speak about her yesterday, and she even, and shout out to her, because I posted "The Devil is finally going down," and she liked my post, so shout out to her. And it said that she felt validated after the rapper's arrest, following up a tweet by saying she chose to speak on to people who could move justice in the way I needed to see it. And a lot of people are wondering why we have not heard from Cassie. For what I'm hearing, everybody say, oh, because she had to take a deal, whatever. Word on the curb is Cassie may be called to testify against him in this trial because he's pleading not guilty, which means if you pleading not guilty and they got stuff on you, especially the RICO charges, and shout out, even though I couldn't stand him, Rudy Giuliani was big on them RICO charges, and that's how he took down the mob in New York back in the day. And that's what he was good for. And then he started going after the nightlife scene and putting a lot of my friends out of business and all that other stuff. And then the racism and then the stop and frisk and all that mess. And that was the one of the reasons why I didn't like him, because of the way he treated not only a lot of my friends who worked in nightlife and a lot of people of color. So I don't like Giuliani, and I'm glad that he's getting his downfall because he aligned himself with that orange asshole, fascist wannabe that's running for president again. So screw Giuliani on that. But I understand, like, with the whole thing with the RICO charge in New York, we don't play when it comes to that. And Diddy been trying to run around here like, and I compared it. I'm glad I compared it to this yesterday, and I see a lot of people is doing the same thing. The way this man, has been moving. He moved like he a gangster. Like he moved like he Al Capone, which is how they took his ass down too, tax evasion. They couldn't get him on the murder charges. They got him on the tax evasion. They got him on all that, not paying your bills, not paying your taxes, all that stuff. And that's how they get you in a lot of those situations. So when it comes down to it, it's like, yeah, there was that. So that's why I feel like he's going that. And now speaking of celebrities, and they talking about that, what Charlamagne said, that the possibility of celebrities being worried that they're going to be pulled into this mess. Word on the curb is there's a couple of, because Kevin Lyles stepped down yesterday. I wonder if he's in on them free call tapes or whatever the case is. So it's like as soon as Diddy was locked up, all of a sudden Kevin Lyles stepping down. So according to a little word on the street, they saying that the event surrounding the 3-time Grammy winner have the execs and labels making contingency plans should damaging information emerge public following Combs' arrest on Monday, saying there are at least 5 execs who have been advised to explore their options as they will not be protected by the shareholders if any allegations emerge. The source noted that the labels are petrified because recording companies tend to be dragged into lawsuits and that encouraging potentially troublesome executives to clean up their acts is their way of protecting themselves. So it kind of makes me wonder who these people are. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Lyles is on there. Remember that we talked about Jimmy Iovine allegedly being was at an event, according to Dawn and what she said in her lawsuit. Jimmy Iovine was present at one of some party or whatever. I think it was around the time when Diddy Dirty Money was a thing, and he was there, Usher was there, Neil was there. So it kind of makes me wonder, like, if Jimmy Iovine is caught up in some stuff, has been going to them freak offs and having a good old time. I wouldn't be surprised by a lot of these execs. Everybody look the other way when the money is flowing and the girls are twerking and the sex is, sexing. So I'm definitely curious about that. And last but certainly not least, speaking of Kalena, let's get into her ass. So remember the other day where she decided to fix her mouth to jump on social media and try to debunk what Dawn said about, with her allegations. I don't understand why my name has been mentioned 30 some times. I said, "Oh, this bitch had time to count how many times her name was in the document," and trying to say, "Well, I don't recall any of this stuff happening." And so Dawn was a liar, which I've been said. With all this stuff that was coming up with Diddy, I would not be surprised because I don't think Dawn would lie. A lot of people have been keeping the secret and keeping it under wraps and don't want to speak out because of how much power this man has had for as long as he's been in the music business. It wasn't until recently with this downfall and all this exposure and all this other stuff that he's finally getting his just due. But according to the neighborhood talk, the assistant U.S. attorney stated that Diddy allegedly contacted Kalena, a former member of Dirty Money, 54 times in one day. They said the calls reportedly occurred shortly after Dawn Richard filed a bombshell lawsuit accusing Diddy of sexual assault and other allegations, naming Kalena 33 times as a witness. And that's why I said she knew to count how many damn times her name was mentioned, but all of it was a lie, right? Okay, Carly Brad, it was all a lie. Get out of my line with that mess. So just say it's worth noting that the calls happened before Kalina posted a statement on Instagram where she opposed some of Dawn's claims. Kalina stated that she never witnessed any illegal or abusive activity as alleged in the lawsuit. And of course, what I loved about what she said was that a lot of people in the comments did not believe her. They were like, girl, how much he paid you? They said the check cleared. Like that was basically the overall assessment. And then I had to be reminded. They said, well, her husband is good friends with Diddy, and not only that, her husband stole her money and opened up a strip club. Who child the ghetto? That's basically what I would say about that. So yeah, so that basically happened with the neighborhood talk. So yeah, and so let me pull up this picture because that get that face like, girl, bye. I don't believe you. Talk about she don't believe Dawn. But guess what? The people didn't believe you either. And it goes to show that once the U.S. attorney, assistant U.S. attorney, exposed you for being the liar you are, it basically just confirms that, sis, you pretty much, he was trying to, I guess, offer you money, bribe you. There was something that went down. He must got something on her. I wouldn't be surprised if she's on the freak off videos. So that's the latest on that. Now, at this point, let's get into the latest story, which would be this. I was like, let me pull this up because that has to do with like the whole court situations in case I was wondering what the diddler looked like. So the latest story is, according to the Associated Press, they were basically saying, as y'all can see in the thumbnail, Sean Diddy Combs indicted alleges he used his power to build an empire of sexual crime. So for 10 months, rumblings, lawsuits, law enforcement raids, and mounting allegations of widespread SA had surrounded Sean the Diddler Combs. That's what I'm going to start calling him now, from now on. The business empire, cultural cachet, and fatherly image he had cultivated in the decades since he became a hot young hip-hop mogul in the 90s had begun to erode. Now, on Tuesday, those ripples became a wave with the unsealing of a sweeping indictment alleging years of sex trafficking and conspiracy, to which he pleaded not guilty before a federal magistrate offered him jail without bail as he awaits trial. That's why I said leave his ass in there. The indictment accuses Combs of presiding over a sordid empire of sexual crimes that uses power and prestige for sex trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for purposes of prostitution, drug offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Child, now, I don't even know what to say. It's like the list is long. And I do believe the whole thing with the arson thing, because I remember at one point, Cassie was like, he tried to blow up Big Sean Carr, who was just at the VMAs the other day. I see him dapping up Lil Nas X and them showing love to each other. It describes the inducement of female victims and male sex workers into drugged up, elaborately produced sexual performers dubbed freak-offs that Combs arranged, directed, pleasured himself during, and often recorded. The events would sometimes last days and require IVs to recover from, the indictment said, and Combs used his employees as though they were a film crew. It alleges he coerced and abused women for years while using blackmail, including the videos he shot, and shocking acts of violence to keep his victims in line, coordinated and facilitated from the top down by a network of associates and employees. And I'm sure all them people, he's got them somewhere. Like, I know he's got himself a Jeffrey Epstein book of stuff that he's going to expose these people on. And then here's where I say that his attorney, Mark, you are a piece of sugar honey iced tea. Because not only was he out here talking about that Diddy never evaded, avoided, eluded to run from a challenge. No, but he was busy out here running all them whores from state to state to come fulfill his sexual appetite. And here's the thing, I'm not judging nobody who's into freak-offs, sex parties, whatever the case was, because I'm not going to sit up here and act like I'm innocent. I've done sex parties. I like those, that's kind of been a thing, a part of myself that I'm into. I like sex parties. I don't particularly care for orgies or whatever the case is, but sex parties, it be lit. But here's the thing, we're all consenting adults, respecting each other's boundaries, and not drugging, beating, doing all that other stuff. So when you take it to a level where you thinking, when you're trying to use your power to physically harm people and blackmail them, that is a problem. But here's the thing: what I don't like about the attorney, because the attorney tried to flip it over, and say Cassie was abusing Diddy. He beat her, and she beat him with the phone. What was she, Naomi Campbell, all of a sudden? Out here beating people with cell phones? So that's basically what he was trying to push it on that. But I'm like, okay. So that time, and I said it's probably warranted, because if he hit her with if she hit him with the phone, that was probably because she got tired of him putting his hands on her. And when she finally fought back, yeah, she might not have won the fight because he a bitch. Ain't gonna pick on somebody that's weaker to take them down. That's probably what that was. You're making it seem like all of a sudden that she just be waking up every morning and decides to put her paws on Diddy. We seen the video. We see what he did to her, dragging her, kicking her, doing all kinds of stuff. So nobody's buying that. And I'm sorry, but your attorney gonna get your ass locked. Well, I think he's going to jail regardless. But I feel like the attorney ain't really helping with this testimony. So then also said its descriptions of beating, sexual assault, silencing tactics, and free calls were echoed throughout the criminal indictment, though it did not use her name or the names of other women. Talking about Cassie. Now, Agnifilo, also without naming Victoria, but clearly referring to her, argued at Tuesday's arraignment that the entire criminal case is an outgrowth of one long-term troubled but consensual relationship that faltered amid infidelity. Saying the free calls, Agnifilo contended, were an expansion of that relationship and not coercive. And then Agnifilo goes, is it sex trafficking? Not if everyone wants to be there. Excuse you? First of all, we already know, I'm not even going to get into this whole thing about trying to break down sex trafficking and stuff. We ain't got time to be sitting here doing all that. But I'm just not even going to justify the buffoonery and the foolishness that's coming out of this man's mouth. They said prosecutors, however, portrayed the scope as far larger. They said in court papers that they had interviewed more than 50 victims and witnesses and expect the number to grow. And a lot of times, if you're being sex trafficked or you have, a lot of these people can't say or they don't have the power to just not be somewhere, especially if you got a pimp. If you're in a position where it's just like the person that's working that is basically shipping you from state to state like cattle to go make them money, the power they have over you. So what are you talking about? So, like many aging hip hop figures, including many of those he beefed with in the bi-coastal rap feuds of the 90s, alongside the notorious B.I.G., the Bad Boys record founder Combs has established a gentler, more worldly public image as a doting father to some child. First of all, I'm not even reading that bullshit because, first of all, I don't know how you got daughters and you doing the things that you do with those women. And then on top of that, when they say all that lotion and lube and the drugs and stuff, and you sitting there raising them twins that you had with Kim Porter, and I truly believe. Like I ain't put nothing past Trump possibly taking out Ivana, burying her in Mar-a-Lago because he's too damn cheap to get her actual funeral. That Diddy may have had something to do allegedly with Kim Porter's unaliving. I wouldn't even be surprised. Some people believe that he had something to do with Biggie death and he had something to do with Tupac. So we've seen the evidence, some of the other stuff that we've seen so far. I'm not buying nothing that's coming out of this man's mouth. And to me, Diddy, you going down. And Kalena, you should be ashamed of your damn self with you sit up in here lying for that man. Like, I hope it was worth it. And all those people that was defending him in the past, like Stevie J, he probably on them freak off videos too. Where y'all at? A lot of y'all that talking about, oh well, they're trying to take a black man down. But what about the women that he hurt? What about them countless people that he's had power over, that he's abused, whose lives he's ruined? Why is it always about, oh, y'all trying to take a black man down? No, we need to stop that BS. If you didn't do the damn crime, your ass wouldn't be in jail doing some time. So, as I've said many a times before, this story is going to be ongoing. I'm sure that, well, not I'm sure, I will be keeping abreast. I'm going to keep my foot on this motherfucker net in regards of this story. Because, I can't stand the devil. I've been calling him the devil, as y'all know, for years. So, to see his downfall, I'm here for it. The chickens have come to roost, and mama is not playing, mama as in Mother Nature. And Karma, she ain't playing with his ass. So, I say all this to say, excuse me, what do y'all think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Ooh, excuse me. Like you said, it's also because the actors booked 4 to 5 films. I'm going to be honest. Remember the 22 to 24 episodes? Yeah, I miss those days. But I don't think a lot of us had the patience. Never Campbell for Scream 3, unfortunately, had to do 2 movies, Part 3 and Drowning Mona. Okay. Um, Aubrey O'Day's story actually confirms why he left. Mhm. And then you said his attorney was on CNN. Please. First of all, I feel damn. I just realized I left my phone. I don't have my phone on me. Um. Anyway, so yeah, there was somebody else's attorney that was doing that a lot lately. Oh, wasn't it Justin Timberlake attorney that kept jumping on doing press conferences? Maybe his attorney want to be on TV just as much as Diddy do. So stop talking to the press because you're making your situation worse, in my opinion. Okay, so now let's move on. Let's talk about his ex, Jennifer. Who, child? When I read this story yesterday, I was like, ma'am, pay it, because none of us want it. But let's entertain the foolishness. So now, her last album did nothing, but Jennifer apparently thinks that we want a post-breakup album about her relationship with Ben Affleck. But didn't we pretty much witness all this before it happened in real time? I feel like I basically gave y'all a record without the singing by me reporting on her stupid-ass relationship with that man for the past 6 months. But let's entertain this story. So, with the daily relationship shenanigans between Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck not only working my root canal nerve, but also keeping me working overtime trying to keep up with said shenanigans, with recent rumors swirling that Ben wants Jennifer back after she filed for divorce last month, now comes word that the Latin bombshell herself believes that Ben can save her flatlining music career. Now, according to The Sun, the Henny from the Block singer is looking to channel her inner Beyonce Swift by following up the major flop that was This Is Me Now with a new breakup album and is looking to use her fourth divorce as creative inspiration. And this is a quote from The Sun. They said the album is going to be all about heartbreak. Fans are going to get the real story through her music. Jen really wants a Cry Me the River type ballad. This is what the Music Insider continued, referencing pop star Justin Timberlake's monster hit about his breakup from Britney Spears. Well, hold on. Before we get to the rest of that damn story, it came, over the years, we was all over here. Well, not all of us, but, for those of us who ain't know no better, we was over here thinking that, oh, damn, Britney done cheated on Justin and that sort of thing. And what had happened, eventually we found out from Britney's finally having the courage to tell her side of the story, that whole Cry Me a River shit was all a lie. That Britney wasn't the one out here laying alone and spreading the wire. She did it out of retaliation because Justin couldn't keep his damn penis in his pants. He was out here messing with that girl from, what was it, from All Saints, and a bunch of other women that he was fooling around with while he was in a relationship with her. And then the whole abortion situation, like all that stuff that came out in the book, come to find out that he made that crap up to make her look bad. And over the years, a lot of people was misogynistically so going in on Britney. And look what happened. So if she want to Cry Me a River type song, maybe she need to work with Timberland. But would the people care? That's what we want to know. That child in this picture, Jennifer Lopez, your vocals ain't even where it need to be for you to be emoting all that stuff in that mic. Now, it says another insider close to Jennifer added that she is focused on this next film coming out, referring to her movie Unstoppable, which recently premiered at the Toronto Film Festival. Well, Toronto International Film Festival, so it's TIFF. If he couldn't, now look, here's my thoughts on this. Now, let's take it back a couple of months. That would be this year, February, when This Is Me Now came out. Nobody cared when that album came out. We didn't want to hear a song about you being all happy being with Ben Affleck. We didn't care. I mean, I guess at the time when you came out with This Is Me then, we didn't know no better. The music industry wasn't the way it was. Social media wasn't what it was. Social media really, I mean, we had social media, but it really wasn't as prominent as it is now. Like, we didn't have, like, Apple Music, Spotify, all that other stuff. You had to really go out and physically buy CDs, and you had to use MTV and all that other stuff to sell your music. And people was here for it at the time. Now we at a point where it's like, well, I've always felt like Jennifer has never really truly solidified who is she as an artist. Like when we look at, it's funny how one of my posts when what was it? Andy Cohen on Watch What Happens Live asked the question because he plays this game called Do Gays Give a Damn? And Adam Lambert was on it. I forget who else was up there with him. But the overall capper was, he was like, do gays give a damn about a J-Lo tour? And one of the guys that was there, I guess he was heterosexual. And he was like, yeah, they do. And then Adam Lambert kind of gave this like, and I was like, yeah, pretty much. And I was like, Adam is right. The gays don't give a damn. And I can't tell you how many times, how many likes that comment has gotten from me responding to that on Instagram. But with that being said, I don't think she is truly solidified herself. Like, who is she as an artist? She has a couple of gays that like her music, but she is not a gay icon. Like, she's not in that same range as like a Beyonce, a Madonna, a Kylie Minogue. She's never really like boggled down and really picked a fan base. Yeah, maybe a bunch of young Spanish girls like Jennifer Lopez, little girls, their mothers, a couple of dudes from the block. But other than that, Jennifer, because we don't call her Jennifer on this show. Jennifer has never really solidified herself as trying to be like, oh yeah, I'm a pander, and I'm gonna just call it what it is, pander to the gays, because those are the only ones that's gonna keep your career going at this point. But she should have been working at that. But I've always felt like she's treated her music career as an afterthought. But here's the thing: if this is something that she wants to do, like I do not feel like Ben could salvage what's left of your music career. He couldn't even salvage it with album number 9. What makes you think he's gonna be able to salvage it with album number 10? So if I was her, I wouldn't do it. Because I don't even know at this point. One minute, you getting a divorce, then the next minute he couldn't keep his hands off you. And it's probably because he needs some pussy. And she dickmatized, so she probably gonna give him some. And then a couple of weeks later, he's gonna be back in his mess, in his depression mode, his bipolar, whatever you want to call it, and be irritated by your very existence. And then pull this mess again. You're gonna call off the divorce, and then you're gonna start his mess. No, leave his ass alone. Him and his damn addictions to the coffee, the liquor, and the cigarettes. Leave him over there. He probably smelled like a damn brewery. That's what Ben Affleck give me. Ben Affleck give me like he smelled like a damn brewery. Say that to a brewery. So here's the thing. I'm gonna give her some advice, but knowing her, she won't listen. She's still thinking she that R&B girl. Girl, leave that to the professionals. Like Mariah and Adele. You are not a balladeer, sis. Leave it alone. So if you really want to get back in the good graces, because look, she look good. She's spending so much time on that body. She looks youthful. She's on the later side of 50, so she's pushing 60 and looks fierce. So we're not discounting the fact that Jennifer is giving body yada yada and face. But if you want to get back in the good graces, you need to stick to your strengths, which is dance music, hip hop, not hip hop, but hip hop. That's like that Jenny from the Block, the remix, and all the other stuff that you was doing with, that type of stuff, and get into that Shakira, Karol G-esque Latin pop type of bag. That's what you need to be focusing on. And like I said, leave the ballads to Mariah, your bestie, and Adele, because those of us who liked Jennifer back in the day, we want the bops. We want On the Floor. We want Get Right. We want Waiting for Tonight. We want Love Don't Cost a Thing. And we want Let's Get Loud. Those are the songs we want. But one of the things I will say, and I'm going to wrap this up, I just do not get why, these hard-headed ass American pop acts who, I'll just stick to the ones who ain't the best singers. Like, Jennifer can carry her tunes. We know she's not the best singer, but what works for her works for her. She always tries to step out and do things that she knows is not her strengths and wonders why her music flops. You are not the best singer. Stop trying to showcase something that we get it. You've been working hard on that voice, and I don't care how many sessions you book with Stevie Mackey. You're not a balladeer. So stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. If TLC could do it by not chasing waterfalls, then bitch, you need to start sticking to the rivers and the lakes that you used to. So I don't care how many vocal sessions you did. You're not a balladeer. Stop trying to do it. Stick to the pop stuff. So put an 808 behind you and start twerking. Well, she don't need to twerk. She could, she could dance. She could do a little 8 count. At her age, shit, Madonna was doing it well into her late 50s, early 60s, until Madam X came along, and that's when all them ailments started. So that's my opinion on that. But now, speaking of, let's go back to the other picture. So now let's talk about this other clip, and then we can wrap this story up. Because when Hennifer appeared on an episode of the Wendy Williams show back in 2015, Wendy basically said to Lopez, "I could always see you getting back with Puffy in a little way." And they said Lopez threw her head back laughing, clearly amused at the idea of rekindling a romance with her former flame, who she dated between 1999 and 2001. Said, "I remember you said that," and this is what she told Williams, indicating that this is the first time Williams made the pitch. While most of the studio audience cheered in support of the idea, Lopez pointed to her mother, who was sitting in the front row and had quite the opposite reaction. Guadalupe made a dismissive hand motion and appeared to say, "It's done." "It's crazy. Everybody came alive," Lopez noted about the audience response. "They all had something to say." Williams noticed the same thing, said, "Everybody has an opinion." "Yes," Lopez said, "it's funny to me." After a resigned, Williams ended the discussion by saying, "All right, so no Puffy." Lopez made a stance crystal clear, no Puffy. And I agree. It's like, Wendy, now you know damn well the type of man that Puffy was back in the day. He even tried to get your ass fired when you were starting to spill all his tea about them gay rumors and all that other stuff. So why would you be trying to push Hennifer back with him? I'm sure she probably wasn't aware of the abuse and all the other stuff that he's been doing to his other women. And I would not be surprised if he put pause on Hennifer or stuff was going on. But you already know when that pow pow situation happened at the nightclub that Sean took, Shine took that L for and wound up doing 10 years in the clink for Diddler, and she smuggling the gun into the club. Hennifer knows some stuff and where the bodies is buried. Now I do wonder if she'll ever be called to testify about some stuff. But what would she know? Because if they're focusing on the stuff at hand with the freak offs and all this other mess that's been going on and the relationship with Cassie and the stuff that started transpiring around 2009, I don't think Hennifer needs to even be dragged in this. But I do agree. It was like, then I said this, Guadalupe, or I'm going to say Lupe, was not playing when it came to that match. She was like, don't mess with that Negro. You already know how Puerto Ricans feel about black folks anyway, but she was right about that. So I've always said, look, she said she a bad picker. That what came out her mouth a couple of weeks ago. So Hennifer definitely is horrible when it comes to the men. But I do agree with this thing. She need to leave these men alone. She need to take a sabbatical. She need to take a breather. She need to do some yoga. She needs some prayer. She needs an exorcism and try to figure out what is going on with herself, that she can't seem to find a good man, Savannah, and she keep going after these bums. So I'm here for Guadalupe. But I wonder if she felt the same way about Ben. Because look, it don't matter the race. An asshole is an asshole, is what I say. So I said this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Ciao. Speaking of comments. um he said not post breakup. I can't with that. Child, who you telling? I can't with this heifer either. She doing the most. And like I said, he is not gonna he can't save your career. If he couldn't save the first record, if nobody cared about This Is Me Now, nobody cares about This Is Me, the breakup album. She is 55 years old. What more can she do? Her children are teenagers. Hollywood is not making movies like that anymore, but she stays working and makes movies. But they always said that she's her happiest when she's busy. And I'm like, if that's your happy place, if that's where the love and the passion is poured into the work, then maybe what she needs to realize that it's not a man that she needs. She's married to her career. Her career is more important to her than being in a relationship. So if once she comes to terms with that and gets that old school mentality of this is, I need a man to satisfy and fulfill my every need or whatever. Once she get on that old school married, baby carriage, white picket fence mentality out her damn brain, that fairy tale shit. Once she get that out of her head, then she can come to terms with the fact that, you know what? You need to put, I'm tired of saying this, but it's just like, you got to keep saying it until it's indoctrinated in people's brains. Maybe what it is that she just needs dick. At your age, stop getting married. It's like, get you, like Madonna and Cher, get you a young man to clean your pipes every now and again, tell you how pretty you are, Send him out his way, and you go and focus on your movies. That's what you need to do. So the busy part, that seems like she's more focused on, but with the relationship, it's always an afterthought. And I do agree. Like, I feel for her children, because I wonder, like Max and Emmy, how once they become adults, with her behavior, playing relationship hopscotch, how that affects them. Yep, all saved. He was out there with that girl. I was never against Britney, so that was you fools. Well, some people was. I would never forget Tanisha for Bad Girls Club going hard for Britney. I love Tanisha, but yeah, I don't remember that. But they said people are not buying her music. She never really made sense as an artist. She just hangs on to trends. I feel like it made sense for her at the time, because here was the thing. When we knew her from A Living Color, we knew her, and Selena, that was the perfect time for her to capitalize on the whole music thing. Because I was like, oh yeah, it makes sense for her. And I even said at that point, as a kid, I was like, it totally makes sense for her to come out with an album and capitalize on the whole Selena thing. And that was smart on her part. The part with her is that, to me, she treated music like a hobby and not her actual career and bread and butter. Because at one point, remember, she used to be going and doing these interviews throwing shade at other actors, like Gwyneth Paltrow and a bunch of others, making it seem like acting was more of her top priority. And to me, she treated music like it was an afterthought. And clearly, the way you were treating your music career, that's basically what people got from it. You get what you put out. Just all over the place, but you all like to. Well, yeah, that was her. To me, that was her best collaborations when she got with Pitbull. Dick was how you got me dick ties. She was never gonna stop messing around with him. No, I tell you, he got a big old dick. That's probably why she can't leave him alone. And said she cannot carry her tools. She can carry it. I don't know how far, but she can carry one. Stop chasing waterfalls. Okay, stick to the rivers and the lakes. That is true. She can do a solid 8 count. She should be proud of that. I do remember this. Lupe was not having it. No, she wasn't. Jennifer Lopez was 30 years old, already been around the world, and yeah. I know you said been around the block, because Jenny is from the block. Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson and Keenen Ivory Wayans. No way she was gonna have Puff lay a hand on her. Well, look, word on the curve was Wesley Snipes put paws on Halle Berry and caused her to go deaf in one ear. I remember hearing that story. Allegedly, exactly. Lupe absolutely said to stay away from that Negro. That's like, look, I'm gonna call it as I said, because I know how them Puerto Ricans are. That she need to leave these men alone. She just a man eater. That was basically what her first husband called her, a man eater. Who was it? Oh, honey. He called her a man eater. She do need to stop getting married, because you want to know something? That's money, and I love money way too much to be having to split it every time I get out of getting a breakup. If I want to break up, you go your way, I'll go mine. We don't have no kids. I got my twins. 55 years old. This is bad look. And you have a teenage daughter. This is real bad. Well, from what, and people got mad at me over saying this, but I don't give a damn. Emmy is non-binary, so they go by they them pronouns. And people was like, well, what does that have to do with anything? It has everything to do with everything, because if they do not identify as a she, if they are ambiguous with their overall gender identity, then you have to respect that. They said, we knew he was dirty in New York. Absolutely, Cherry. We knew that. It's the same thing when we said about a lot of people in the business. Like when we talk about Donald Trump, I've been saying we've been aware of that crapple for eons, and talking about that how he wants to, if he becomes president, he's going to make sure that immigrants won't be able to get any loans to get a home, whatever the case. I said, well, shit. Now, if these dumbass black folks go out there and vote because of that, I said, what makes you think he's not going to do that to y'all? Quiet as a scat. He did that to black people back in the day, especially in New York, when they were trying to rent out parts of Trump Tower and stuff. He would not rent out to black people. He was big on redlining, him and his father. So I don't know why people think that, oh, you thinking you're going to hurt them? To be honest, a lot of these white people cannot tell a difference between an American-born Black person, a Jamaican, a Haitian, or any person or even a Dominican. They be looking at some of these old Afro Latinos and think y'all Black too. Well, quite as it's kept, y'all all Black, even though some of y'all don't want to say it. But if you dark skinned, they all lump you all in. They all lump you in the same category of being Black. They don't know the different diasporas, and they don't care. So maybe in your mind, y'all be aware of this. But these white people look at everybody that's not. If you not their complexion, if you are other, you're gonna get treated the same. They put you all under one brush. The racist. That's what I'm talking about. Is it Deadbeat Owen companies all over New York City under Ciroc street talks? I'm so glad I've never drank Ciroc. I never supported any of Diddy. I never bought Sean John. I never bought his colognes. I never bought his liquor. Well, first of all, I'm a whiskey drinker, so I was never big on. I was never big on vodka to begin with. Fuck out of here, all these dummies praising him for years. Absolutely. Even though, and I feel like it's because I've known so many little sinister things that he was doing, not to the magnitude of what's come out, but there was always something about him. I was like, I don't like the way he moved. And it was a lot of the business things that he was doing to people, especially in the music business. But as far as the freak off stuff that goes, I'm just glad all that's come out because it's a justification. And I hope that the people are not being anti-sex or whatever, but the way he was going about his sexual appetites, to me, is just wrong. Because like I said, if you have a sexual appetite, if you like sex and all these other things, you should be allowed to explore those things. But when it comes to the point of abusing people, that's when it becomes a problem. Or trying to have power or using your power as to influence and hurt other people and damage careers, which he was doing for years or decades. She only released so much music in the 2000s because Sony Music contract was a multi-album deal. That fooled me thinking she was serious about music, but business is business, and she understands. Yeah, she's a businesswoman. She's not an artist. Hannaford is a businesswoman. Hence why I feel like she does. The one thing she does take seriously is the acting, but everything else is like, yeah, that's all those brand deals and all that stuff. That's just the business side and the music. I sent you a video of someone dragging Emma Roberts. The trans actress even said this Nepo baby is more like his dad Lifetime movie. Well, I've heard that she's not the nicest person. I just don't understand how Garrett Hedlund went up knocking her ass up. I'd be ashamed to have Emma as a niece or Eric as a brother. Nowhere near that. Isn't Eric Roberts on the new season of Dancing with the Stars that premiered last night? I didn't watch because I don't care. But I think he's on the new season. He said, this is a mess, and he is the root cause. It burns me up that we knew this in New York the whole time. And yeah, and it's funny how, like, we know, from those of us in New York, we always tend to know. We always tend to be ahead of the situation. But it's like everybody else is catching up. It takes a while, but I'm glad it's happening. It said, Eric Roberts in Best of the Best is a classic movie. I will say this. I did love that movie. And I actually liked him in The Dark Knight. Or was it The Dark Knight? Was it The Dark Knight Rises? I think it was in both. Because I'm thinking, no, it was The Dark Knight because Heath Ledger was in that one. The music, because she was with Puff at the time, who was in the music industry and got her brand deals. Yeah, I think there was a misprint on the whole gender thing because I was like, I got it. But anyway, let's move on. Excuse me, and let's talk about Dolly Parton, who is weighing in on this whole Beyonce situation. Now, I've been seeing Dolly Parton. I mean, she's a national treasure. I love me some Dolly. But I'm going to have to break this one down because she says she don't think that Beyonce was snubbed at the CMAs. And I seen Beyonce. I seen Dolly Parton is out recently. She's been promoting a new cookbook. They said from her mother recipes with her sister. So she's been doing that because she was on The View yesterday and they were eating up the strawberry shortcake and they were basically talking about the food and all this other stuff. And the food looked really good because I was like, you know what? That's some of that Southern cooking. Yeah, it would give you a heart attack and high blood pressure. But that should be hidden. Especially one of the things I always wanted to try was fried green tomatoes. I've had fried pickles, but I've never had fried green tomatoes. So Dolly Parton is refusing to take sides in the drama between the CMAs and Beyonce, unwilling to acknowledge the singer may have been purposefully shut out of the award show. Now, according to Up Rocks, they said that Dolly Parton is arguably the queen of country music. Yes, she is. Excuse me. So when Beyonce decided to creatively venture into the genre, she was sure to tell her brim to the classic Jolene. Despite the homages to country greats, rising stars of critical acclaim, Cowboy Carter was notably missing from the CMA Awards nomination list. While the Beehive are fuming over the snub, Dolly Parton feels differently. Now, during an interview with Variety, Dolly said she doesn't believe Beyonce's Cowboy Carter album was intentionally ignored, saying, well, you never know. She says, there's so many wonderful country artists that I guess probably the country music field, they probably thought, well, we can't really leave out some of the ones that spent their whole life doing that. But I didn't even realize that until somebody asked me that question. But she did go on to praise the project and said, but it was a wonderful album. She could be very, very proud of. And I think everybody in country music welcomed her and thought that that was good. So I don't think it was a matter of shutting out, like doing that on purpose. I think it was just more that the country charts and the country artists were doing that, do that all the time, not just a specialty album. So I totally get what she was saying, because she was like, this feels like basically it wasn't like Beyonce really getting in and taking, I don't want to say taking country music seriously, but it was just, oh, I'm just going to do a country album because this is out of spite for what the CMAs did to me. And I'm sure there's got to be some sour grapes, similar to how y'all saying what Jay-Z is doing to Lil Wayne by not having him perform at the Super Bowl halftime and got Kendrick Lamar. So there could be like some sour grapes in that too, because of the whole thing of them and their deep-rooted racism of not wanting to accept Black country artists. Now, I cannot remember off the top of my head if there are other Black country artists that are nominated, because if there aren't, then there's a problem. I was also thinking, sidebar, I saw on Kevin Ortega Rojas's Instagram, and I'm glad he pointed this out. The Latin Grammys just came out, I think yesterday, or sometime in the past couple of days. And they said something, and it's got me thinking about this whole thing with country music. And the fact of the matter is how y'all trying to gatekeep, even though we know the roots of country music and Black music and that sort of thing. Black people that is the one genre that Black people do not dominate. It was colonized, whatever the case, we could break all the history down another time. But they were saying that the Latin Grammys have a colorism problem. And I was like, you know what? I agree with that, because if you're doing the Latin Grammys, why all the artists that particularly play in the urban music space, especially when we're talking about reggaeton, that they're all light skinned? You got Bad Bunny, you got Fade, you got Karol G, you got all these other artists that are being nominated, and they're all light skinned. Even one of the producers that they said is like one of the biggest producers, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, how he's got a multitude of nominations, and of course he is light skinned. And there's nothing wrong with well, there is something wrong with that. I'm just going to be honest with it. Well, I'm always honest on this. I was like, why am I trying to curb my mouth all of a sudden? I do agree, like, yeah, there needs to be a change in regards to, because if y'all going to play in urban spaces or whatever, then there needs to be a hodgepodge and a mix of different people who play in these wheelhouses, and stop always trying to whitewash urban genres of music, which is kind of like what people said has happened with country music. So I totally get where Dolly Parton's coming from, but I honestly, maybe the way she's looking at it is like, yeah, the fact of the matter is that she's jumping in a genre that is just probably going to be a one and done. It's not like something like K. Michelle, for instance, who has been windmilling hard for years, saying how much she is a fan of country music and has been trying to infiltrate the country music space, and now she's getting her opportunity. For some would say because of Beyonce, her being of her stature, kicking open that door and shining a light on Black artists who love country and want to do country music. When genres of music, if you're a fan of something, if you love something, you should be allowed to play in those wheelhouses and sing and play in that genre of music. I don't understand why still this day and age, and I know it's got to do with, it's rooted in racism, which irritates me. These gatekeepers, these white old ass men who feel like all Black people should do is R&B and hip hop, when there are Black girls and boys that love dance music. Well, first of all, house music comes from Black queer people. There are Black people that love country music. There are Black people that love pop. There are Black people that love dance music. There are Black people that love other genres. Not all Black people want to, and rock. Not all Black people want to sit up in here and just do R&B and hip hop. And even the ones that are doing R&B, y'all still, I feel like the industry don't really respect the R&B genre. So I totally get where Dolly's coming from because I do agree with her. So yeah, it is a good album, but I would have said this: even if you're not going to nominate the record, if even if you're not going to give Carol G, I don't know why I'm thinking about her. Oh, probably because I just mentioned her. um, even if you're not going to give Cowboy Carter, any flowers, nominations, whatever the case is, why would you not acknowledge Jolene? Even if you don't like the song, you can nominate. It don't necessarily mean she got to win, but she could have at least got a couple of nominations because that was the thing she went into. But then also, some people probably feel like maybe her issue was she wasn't out here campaigning like this is a serious thing because Beyonce just put stuff out there and just disappear, but she really wasn't out here promoting Cowboy Carter like that. She wasn't really out here campaigning for the awards or putting the things up. So maybe it also could be her fault, where a lot of y'all think that just because the Grammys, want them numbers and ratings and this, that, and the other, and automatically they're just going to roll out the red carpet for Beyonce, that she don't have to work just as hard in other genres that she's not a dominant figure or fixture in. Because, yeah, country music is a new thing that she's infiltrating. She's always had a lock on the Grammys and all these other award shows, but country is something that's new. So I'm just trying to look at it from all these different, ways and not just make it seem like, oh yeah, we're just a snub because it's easy to just, oh, it's a snub because they black and like it's easy to do that. But I always try to see different sides of the situation that maybe people weren't thinking about that could be possibly the case. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think? Do y'all agree with Dolly? Or do you feel that it was rooted in racism or whatever the case was? But yeah, she's like, I didn't think about it then, but it was just like the way that it was broken down for her, when saying that, we're not just gonna give Beyonce awards because she's like this major star and just ignore all these other people, like the Shabuzis or whoever who have been in this country music space for years. And because you just all of a sudden, because you a big star, you're just going to jump ahead of the line and get all the accolades. And we talk about that too a lot of times on the show about nepotism and politics and how some people feel like because they're a big star or whatever, that they get to jump ahead of the line without any hard work. We said that about Katy Perry, like how all of a sudden she winning all these awards at the VMAs is clearly like a industry plant type situation where all of a sudden now, because she got this new album coming out, clearly Capitol Records done threw a little cointada at the VMAs or whatever kind of behind the scenes shenanigans they was doing to big her up to be this big thing when people ain't checking for her. So that's just like one little example. So I say all this to say, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. He said, yeah, she is a national treasure. Why is Beyonce going to put out one country album, a country concept album, and then expect to earn a nomination? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, look, she did a country album. She should get an award. It's like, but that's not how the world works. Just because you did one record that you're not going to jump back into after this one, I don't think Beyonce is going to continue to stay in country music. This was a concept record, so maybe they were looking at it in that way. But here's the thing: maybe with the networks and these country people, or whatever, they need to explain that and show how it works. It's the same thing like when we had that producer that came out when people say, "Oh, there's a committee that makes a decision in regards of who's going to be performing at the Super Bowl," and then a producer on the Super Bowl said, "No, Jay makes the decision." So why can't y'all just come out and say like, "This is how we vote," or "This is how the thing works"? Because and then maybe, but then maybe what might happen is you explain it and then people still already got their mind made up and they'll be like, well, y'all just saying whatever, whatever. So it's like, what's the point of me explaining shit to you if you're not going to listen? So it could be that too. Well, I say don't sit and worry about those people. Worry about those of us who sit and want to learn and understand. I do agree. They do need to calm down. It's like these fandoms, y'all be doing too much. Of all the black country artists to be nominated, why would it be Beyonce when she's not a country artist? Because like I said, they feel like because she put out one country record that she should be getting a plethora of awards. I could understand if it was the Grammys. Like that makes more sense because that's more of a broad spectrum. But the country music awards, let them have their stuff. Isn't she nominated for another country album? I mean, another country award show? So I do hope Cowboy Carter isn't her only forte in the country music. I feel like she's going to That is going to be, or maybe she'll play into that. Maybe she'll expand on that with the next album, which is rumored to be a rock record. I mean, we see like rock music is this would be the perfect time for her to put out a rock record because look, rock is making a comeback. We see all the veteran rock bands coming out with music. We got Foo Fighters, we have what was it, Linkin Park, Marilyn Manson. Like we got all these rock bands that's making a comeback. So this would be the perfect time for her to put out a record, even though we've known for years that that was the rumor that that was the next thing that she was gonna do. Oh, that's cool. Gwen Stefani is coming out with her fifth studio album on November 15th. Hopefully it's good because Gwen Stefani hasn't given us a good one in a while. And I like a lot of her old stuff, especially like, her first Love Angel Music Baby and all that other stuff. So hopefully it's in that. It plays in that, but expands on that. So yeah, that's a good question. Is it Gwen Stefani or is it a No Doubt album? I have a feeling it's a Gwen Stefani record. But here's the thing, I would love a No Doubt album. Like you said, most white people associate Beyonce with R&B and find it strange when she's jumping into a genre that they mostly gatekeep. Actually, absolutely. So I'll send you the article, but Lucian Grange says fandoms are the only way to enjoy music now, as social media made it a community. If you're not part of a fandom, are you really enjoying music? Well, I got my own mind, so I don't rely on fandom to enjoy things. But that's just me. And it said, I honestly doubt the Grammys will care about Cowboy Carter. The people don't want to admit how much the album did commercially flop and got overshadowed by Shabuzi's solo music. Well, here's the thing. I would love to see Shabuzi get nominated, and I'm sure he will. Um, Taylor Swift, we already know, is getting a plethora of nominations. Her album dominated 2024. So people gonna get mad about that. I say argue with your mammy. Because number one, Taylor Swift was out here putting in the work, supporting the hell out of the album, all the different versions of that record she came out with, because she knows about the algorithms and all that other stuff. You have to play the game if you want the success. Beyonce just think, oh, I'm gonna just throw something out there, and y'all just gonna buy it. That's not how it works. Just because you Beyonce, and that just goes, and not just for her, it's for anybody. Y'all have to put in the work. Taylor Swift put in the work. She was out here touring like crazy with this record. She did two different versions of this Eras tour and is going back on tour again to the end of the year to finish out the rest of this Eras tour. So she's putting in the work, and you see why she's getting all the success. Beyonce just put something out there and then want y'all to spend up all y'all damn rent money, 3 months worth, and to just think, oh, well, okay. Like, sis, I know how we Virgos think. We can't just sit about here and just expect people to just show up to our shit. We got to put in the work. It's like me today. I'm on early putting in this work. So that way I can give you all a show because I'm going to be busy. I got this comedy show that I'm doing for 5 nights straight. And then I got the Troye Sivan sweat tour. Well, I got the sweat tour on Monday. So I'm going to be busy for the next 6 days. I'm really looking forward to that show. They said no doubt we'll never get back together. I mean, the only time they did get back together was at Coachella, but it would be nice for them to get back together. And I wonder if she performs any of the No Doubt songs when she's on tour. Because I'm like, it's cute or whatever when you have your own solo stuff, but we want the other stuff too. I know you fucking Lauren. It's a Georgia Poet's top selling album, top stream artist of the year, top stream album. Espresso is the top song. I just don't understand Sabrina Carpenter. You know what I'm really upset about? How is Sabrina Carpenter, and I'm not throwing shade at her, but how is Sabrina Carpenter and this boring new album the top thing, but Zara Larson flopped? And her album is 10 times better than Sabrina Carpenter's. I was bored with that record. But Zara Larson, if Sabrina was to go in more of a Zara Larson direction, she'd be that girl. But her songs to me, I'm like, that's it. I was underwhelmed. Sabrina Carpenter is featured on Christina Aguilera's 25th anniversary edition of her debut album. I'm looking forward to hearing that and the change ups that they did because that was very much bubblegum pop back in the day. I'm not going to Facebook that no. I'm not going to Facebook that no doubt Coachella was a one off, and let's not act like there was backlash because no doubt is a part of that demographic. Yeah, that's true. I could definitely see. No doubt would have made more sense than Lollapalooza. That skew is a little older. Then some Coachella. Coachella is like Paris Hilton, hipster, like That type. Or people that just want to go there to say that they were there and take pictures, but don't really be engaging in the situation. Like Coachella, I just don't get Coachella. Now, I've done many festivals. I did Ozfest. I did all of those. But I just don't get, Coachella's never been like a thing that I've aspired to want to go to. Okay. But even though that's not even a Gwen Stefani song, that's a no doubt. But they associate her with it because she sings, so that makes sense. Zara Larsson fails with the American market, and let's be honest, the music industry thinks the younger the better, which they're incorrect about. So when they want to keep doing that, and then we sit up in here disappointed because these young children ain't given what needs to be given in regards to the performance and all that other stuff. Sabrina Carpenter did work with Zara. I'll send the video to you. Oh, did not know that. She was going viral for her song Symphony, but she was mostly nameless when it was going viral. Well, yeah, that was the way. Well, whoever marketed her, that was their fault. I don't know why. That album is terrible. That album is terrible. No shade. And calling herself the infinite icon. Where? I mean, maybe in a reality TV space, but not in music. But no, that album is terrible. Look, I will listen to Camila Cabello on repeat before I listen to that album again. And y'all already know how I feel about CXOXO. So anyway, let's move on. And speaking of Beyonce, let's get into this story about Pharrell, who is breaking his silence on this whole situation regarding the Milkshake drama. So y'all already know there was some drama between Kelis when Beyonce released her Renaissance album, the dance record. She used a sample of Milkshake on Energy, which was like transitioning into another song. Kelis apparently got pissed off because she felt like, oh, she should have called her and asked her to use my likeness. Well, Pharrell has some words to say in regards to that. It took him a long time to speak on it, but I guess he's been busy, stitching outfits for Louis Vuitton. That I know he's not really stitching. I'm just saying. He's got a whole, team of people. And here's the thing: what I will say about Pharrell that I love about him with the whole fashion thing, how at the end of the shows that he does, he highlights all the people that work behind the scenes to put the clothes together. You don't never see no other designers, and if there are, let me know. But you don't never see no other designers that do that. And I love the fact that he brings out all these other designers and showcases them at the end of his shows, at the end of the collection. So, in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Williams responded to remarks made by Kelis in 2022 following the release of Beyonce's Renaissance album. At the time, the singer voiced her frustration over Beyonce incorporating elements of Milkshake into the Renaissance song Energy, prompting her to go on social media to rant, to air her grievances. However, according to Williams, he has the right to use the song in any way he desires, as he is the one who wrote the song. Not only that, but he said he and Chad Hugo, who he is no longer close with, because isn't Chad suing him? It's some drama between them. But anyway, he said he and Chad produced the song and Pharrell wrote the lyrics. So when he said it, he basically said, I wish her the absolute best, but I wrote the song. Now, that's a read. Wish her the best. He continued noting that he and the Neptune's group mates, Chad Hugo, was solely responsible for the track's composition. It was me and Chad who produced it. A former artist on Williams' Star Trek label, Kelis addressed Beyonce's sampling Milkshake, which she said was done without her knowledge or consent, saying, quote, the reality is that it's frustrating. I have the right to be frustrated. Why do no one have the human decency to call and be like, yo, hey, we would like to use your record? Well, Kelis, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to hurt your feelings. And girl, I love you. I love your music. I've been following you since Caught Out There. Kaleidoscope is one of my all-time favorite records. I also love Wonderland. I bought it on import because it was not sold in the United States. So I had to spend a little extra cointada down at the Virgin Mega Store when that album was trotting around internationally to buy that record. So that's how hard I go for Kelis. But sis, you didn't write the song. You basically are just a studio session singer on it. And that's no shade. If you didn't write the song, if you didn't produce it, if you have no control or wherewithal, I don't have to go through you to use your song, this song that you became popular off of. Beyonce is someone who knows the legalities of this, that, and the other. So she's going to have her legal team go through the people who are credited to have been a part of the song. So she's going to go through Pharrell. She's going to go through Chad. She's going to go through all the people who was a part of that and get their permission to use the sample. Now, a Virgo, we're going to be petty. We're not even going to address you. We're just going to do a silent kill, which is, okay, bitch, now this is what you want? Okay, I'm going to take you off. And now you're not even going to get financially compensated. So I'm sure, like, she's making her little, she's making her little coin from her garden and her organic food franchise, whatever it is that she got going on. Because I know she's big into, like, the culinary industry. So that's where her probably main source of income comes from. But I'm saying, in a way, it was like maybe with this deal, that she would have gotten a little something something from her likeness being used on the song. I don't know all the legalities, but I do believe that if you're going to use someone's likeness, that even if you didn't get the permission, you got paid. Same thing with T.S. Madison. Beyonce used her likeness, but she had to go through the lawyers to get permission to use it, and she was paid, and she also won a Grammy for Cozy. So I'm sure it would have been the same thing in that situation that would have been for her. So, like I said, and I like that look though. See, I was like, this picture's funny because it's like Beyonce giving her that look, like, and that sassy, try me if you want to look. So, that's all I got to say on that. That was a good, short and sweet one. So I was like, yeah. The reality is, I know it's just like, let's get straight to the point. It's just like, yeah, if you don't have ties or control or any kind of credit on the record, I don't have to go through you to use your likeness. Sorry, it is what it is. I go through the people that actually have the right of credit, that, publish it, whatever the case is. I got to go through those channels and not you. So I know you probably feel like maybe that would have been a way to get your name out there and acknowledge. And people acknowledge that you was on it. The fan was listening to the record. But when you came out, they was like feeling like you was bitter. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm here for people to air their grievances out. And we have heard stories of how Beyonce likes to steamroll over people in order to get credits. Kate Renata recently came out and said something about Beyonce and how he did a remix on one of her songs. I forget which one, from Renaissance. And they wanted to lowball him with the payment. And people calling him bitter. It's like, wait a minute. Now, if I'm going and I'm remixing a song and you're trying to give me like the bare minimum when I'm doing this song, why do I have to just accept it because you're this big major star? Like, that's not how that works. And Kate Renata is like a hot producer. Him and Channel Tress is who I love the both of them. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Do you feel like Kelis had a reason to be all upset? Or look, Pharrell said what he said. We already know that him and Kelis had their little grievances. They don't speak. She don't particularly care for him. Pharrell got it out with Chad. It's just like a downfall of a dynasty. And I like the whole Star Trek dynamic. It was like Timbaland and his stuff, and then it was Pharrell and them. So, the 2000s was lit when it came to that space-aged hip-hop. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Ooh, what's that? You said Zara did announce she's working with Icona Pop on their fourth album, a successful club romantic and hipster and dance. Well, here's the thing. Club Romantique was a good record. I still listen to that record. That was a good one. Because to me, it was just like, where would those girls go in regards to their music? Because it's like, yeah, they did I Love It, which is a Charli XCX song. But it was like, yeah, they definitely turned it out in regards to the music. So I definitely love that record. And I love the fact that they're working with Zara because it's probably like she's like probably helping them write songs. They're all three of them are Swedish. So that's the perfect combination. And I love Swedish pop because they really be having their finger on the pulse of, catchy songs. So I definitely want to hear what they're cooking up in the studio. And if Zara's career ain't really gonna do what it need to do, work behind the scenes. I mean, you can still put out music, but work with other artists. That's how you make it look. That's how Tove Lo makes her coins. Chad seems to be the brains of the NERD operation. I always wonder why Kelis got upset when it was general knowledge Chad and Pharrell produced the hit. Yeah, exactly. It's like, why'd you get mad? It's not your song. Kelis was an amazing artist in the late 90s and was great with NERD. And I always loved anything that Kelis put out, but but look, it may have been, I could definitely hear Britney singing, doing that song. It definitely feels like a Britney. My Milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. Definitely feels like a song that Britney would do. But it works for Kelis. I heard that too. Brit reject Milkshake when it was offered to her by Chatter, and maybe because it sounded too close to Slave for You and a lot of the other stuff that she did. So that's probably why she was like, I'm not doing that song. But definitely feels like I could definitely see like when Pharrell was writing it, he had Britney in mind. Pharrell lost so many cool points after he said he doesn't like celebrity endorsements for Prez, especially when he performed as a headliner for the ID. Chad, don't even get me started with that because I worked the show the other day and I had to keep my political opinions to myself because the propaganda that they was putting up on that screen about these IDF soldiers and people chanting "Bring them home" in the audience. I was like, Chris, keep it together. And my bosses and them was like, whatever. If they ask you, if they bait you, don't say a word. Keep it to yourself. Don't get into it because what they do is then you get into an argument. They want to run to your manager, boss, whatever, and say, oh, so and so was anti-Semitic, whatever the case is, which I'm not. Y'all already know how I feel in regards to this whole political thing, but yeah. So, um, you can't sit up in here and run your mouth and talk about you don't like celebrities endorsing politicians, or especially when we have Phineas and his sister Billie Eilish just came out in support of Kamala Harris. But I haven't heard any of the Trumps and anybody say nothing about her. Maybe because they don't think that Billie is. They don't even know who Billie Eilish is. Quiet as it's kept, he didn't even know who the fuck Nicki Jam is. And I just heard from a friend of mine that Nicki Jam quietly walked back his endorsement for Trump after the backlash. I'm like, is he slow? It must be the new teeth he got in his mouth that pretty much just affected his brain cells. Because you really thought you and Anuel would get up there supporting Trump and that was going to help your music, and then Mana came out and was like, "We're not even supporting. Like we're taking the Nicki Jam verse. Like we did a song with him and we're taking it off our music." And I was about to listen to Nicki Jam's new album too, but after that story came out, I was like, "Fuck him." Not listening to him. But like I said, I'm loving Chencho Corleone's new album. Anyway, they say he can't handle the Twitter unalive threats and sexual harassment comments like Taylor and Billie Eilish is going through. Billie is getting accusations of incestuous affairs with her brother. That's so gross. People are so nasty. And it's probably because those people that's making those accusations probably dealing with their own damn kids. And they said Phineas has been with his girl Claudia since 2017. Is he supposed to be coming out with a new solo album? Because I could have sworn I saw that on my Apple Music. That it says something or another that her brother Phineas has a solo album coming out. As I've noticed, Gen Z is actually better with relationships than previous ones. I think it's because they can open up more than we ever did. Yeah, a lot of the younger generation is more in touch with their feelings. A lot of us were told to kind of suppress our feelings. The younger generation is like, fuck that. Murder Inc., Neptunes, Black Round, YMCA. Yeah, those were all those, definitely. That was basically a lot of. We had a lot of that. We don't even have that no more. That's why I always be talking about like who's the next Dark Child, who's the next Neptunes, who's the next Timbaland, who's the next whoever was producing the beats over there at Murder Inc. Who was it? Irv Gotti? It's like we don't have those producers that stand out in that way. That we know, like if you hear they say, or Shakespeare. Remember, Shakespeare sounded like a poor man's version of Timbaland with them bubbles that he would have popping over his music. Or Rich Harrison, was who carved out a Marie sound before people like Beyonce and Jennifer Lopez came and swagger jacked it for themselves. Hard Candy seems to be that swan song of the Neptunes of Madonna out. Absolutely. And that's why I always said, like, even though it's not my top Madonna song, and I do love what she did with the record, like some of the songs definitely there are standouts. I always felt like Hard Candy was Madonna coming on that Timbaland Pharrell bandwagon a little too late. I really wish she would have worked with Pharrell more because I feel like he pushed her in regards of like different sounds, and their collaborations stood out way more than her stuff with Timbaland. Timbaland stuff sounded like Timbaland. It basically sounded like Justin Timberlake wrote a lot of those damn songs, and it was just demos he gave to her that he didn't want. Similar to how a lot of the songs that Justin Timberlake worked on Justified with were rejects for Michael Jackson. I thought it was about 98 Degrees, but you said 1998 to 2008. It's like, not 98 degrees. We don't even know them. And then she was getting dragged on Twitter. But like I said, I do expect Twitter to slam Billy. Is literally because, child, fuck Twitter and Elon. And he said his second album is out in October. Yeah, because as I said, I knew I seen it in my situation where it was like he's coming out with a record. Most people don't even know. Wait, most people I know who aren't sex workers left Twitter to a different site. Yeah, a lot of people just hold on to it. I mean, I still have Twitter because I use it to promote my website and this show. She's not me sounding like if Madonna worked with Prince. That and The Beat Goes On very, very much felt like Prince too. But anyway, how many more times? Okay, so we have oh damn, I put this in twice. I don't know why I did that. So we have how many more? About 5 more topics, and we are done with today's show. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, that subscribe button, also smash the notification button, so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Allen Unfiltered. Without further ado, let's get to the story about Charlie Hunnam, who's about to play a serial killer by the name of Ed Gein in Monster Season 3. Now, we already saw Monster Season 1. We had Jeffrey Dahmer, which pissed a lot of people off because they were like, oh, well, why y'all met with Evan Peters? And I have to say, Evan Peters did a phenomenal job playing Jeffrey Dahmer in the film, but people felt like it was exploitative because here you are making this movie about this white man who I don't even know if was he really a homosexual or was he just like some suppressed whatever. I don't know. But I thought Evan Peters did a phenomenal job. I just don't want to sit up here and watch this white man up in here killing gay black men who were in the closet or whatever the case was, or he was perusing gay establishments and deliberately taking out, gay black men or men of color. And it still hurts me to this day how he went after that little 14-year-old boy. So Charlie Hunnam, and then we have season 2 about to come out where they have oh my god, who is it? The Menendez brothers, which actually I'm really looking forward to. But I've heard people make accusations saying that they feel that they're sexualizing the Menendez brothers with the kind of shots that they're doing of them shirtless and in the shower and they're all wet and all this other stuff. I wasn't really paying attention to all of that. I was just always intrigued by the story of how abusive their father was, and the mother was a damn drunk and was emotionally abusive to their children. So I totally get why both sons took a shotgun to both their parents because of the way they were treated. The father was allegedly sexually abusing them and physically, and the mother was emotionally abusive. So for season 3, it was announced that Charlie Hunnam, who I have loved since Queer as Folk, the British version, is about to play Ed Gein. And I was sitting there thinking, I was like, when I found this picture, I was like, yeah, it's perfect because they all do look similar because they both got the cap on. And yeah, Charlie is hot, but he and Ed Gein kind of do resemble each other in a way. So I'm like, yeah, that could work. So series co-creator Ryan Murphy made the announcement on stage during a promotional event in LA for Monster Season 2, which focuses on the Menendez brothers and the murder of their parents. The first season of the anthology series focused on serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. Gein, who also hailed from Wisconsin like Dahmer, became infamous in the 50s when authorities discovered that he not only had unalived multiple people, but he had dug up graves from a cemetery near his home and fashioned all manner of household items and clothing from human remains. So, for those of you who may not be aware, if you've seen movies like Buffalo Bill and The Silence of the Lambs or Norman Bates and Psycho or even Leatherface, a lot of those characters in those movies were based on Ed Gein. Now, it also says that this marks the latest newly announced TV role for Hunnam. It was reported in May that he is set to star in the upcoming series Criminal at Amazon. He is best known for starring in the popular FX outlaw biker drama Sons of Anarchy, in which he played Jackson Jax Teller, for several seasons. He recently starred in the Apple series adaptation of the book Shantaram. Hunnam's other TV credits include Undeclared and Queer as Folk, while his film credits include Pacific Rim, The Gentleman, True History of the Kelly Gang, Rebel Moon Part 1, and The Lost City of Z, because they killed him off in the first one. So, I love the idea that Charlie Hunnam is going to be a part of this. Now, in regards to like his movie career, it's unfortunate it hasn't taken off, but it seems like he does way better in television. So I do like this idea, and I'm also interested in seeing like how he's going to fare because I did see like one of the photos that I saw of Ed Gein, and it kind of freaked me out. They show like a chair that had human skin underneath the seat, so people who was ever coming up in that house of his was sitting on human skin that he would stitch into the furniture. on one hand, I'm like, that is like fashion, a little artistic to be able to have that type of creative mind. But on the other hand, it's kind of twisted. And even though I was bothered and fairly uncomfortable, I don't even think I finished the first season of Monster with Jeffrey Dahmer. I've always been relatively fascinated by serial killers and what makes them tick. I think it's just always like when you're someone who is always trying to understand why people do what they do and get in their mindset and stuff. That's always been something I've been fascinated by. So I am curious to see when this show happens, who knows? I don't know when they're going to start filming it, but more than likely we won't be getting, because we have to get this season, second season of Monster. So more than likely we'll be getting this version, the season 3 in 2025. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? I like Charlie Hunnam. I like the fact that, he's stretching and trying different things. And I know people out here get mad because the Brits is just taking all our roles. But look, American actors, I didn't step y'all pussy up in regards to the thespianisms and things of that nature. And, the Brits is all taking y'all parts. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, Double A says the male movie star is hard in the United States. Charlie really has to capture the hearts of the American public before he become a movie star. Yeah, because I don't think people see him in the same way they see like a Barry Keoghan or a who's the other one? Or a Jacob Elordi, who basically is capturing the hearts of the people. There's a couple of male actors out here who are really like getting into the good graces, the Michael B. Jordans, that sort of thing. So it's like, yeah, while you are a good actor, they also want you to be able to have that balance of good actor and also movie star type situation, like a Glenn Powell or something or another. Like people really starting to gravitate towards Glenn Powell. And I like Glenn Powell. I liked him ever since he was in the Spy Kids movie. And I forgot he was in that. But yeah. So you got to be able to have you got to be able to tip that balance in a way. Okay, child, let's move on. Let's talk about Miss Chappell Moan. She's still out here complaining. Again. So yesterday, every time we turn around, she always bitching about something. But now she talking about the latest. She don't want to win a Grammy so y'all can get off her ass. Those are her words, not mine. And I'm like, sis, like I said before, when it came down to the situation of you wanting this money, success, fame, and glamour, and then when it finally showed up, now you can't handle it. You know what I say in the words of Pussycat Dolls, one of the lyrics from, When I Grow Up, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. Now, Chappell Moan says she doesn't want to win a Grammy, despite being arguably the biggest thing in pop music right now. The singer, who has had a stratospheric rise to fame, said if she wasn't to win, then everyone will get off my ass. The rising superstar, who recently launched her European tour dates in Manchester, had a controversial appearance at the VMAs red carpet after a horrifying run-in with the paparazzi, with Miss Moan winning her first VMA for Best New Artist this year, where she basically told them to F off or shut the fuck up. Because they told her, they was like, well, I think they told the publicist, shut the fuck up. But then, let's not also forget the fans who came out and was throwing shade at her because she was more interested in running out and doing the damn VMAs than actually fulfilling her contractual obligations for the the European leg of her tour. She canceled 2 of the dates so she could come out here and hobnob with all these celebrities. But you hate the fame. But you want to hobnob with the same people in a business that you hate because the fandom is too much. And given a string of disturbing incidents, was prompted a Pink Pony Club singer to share a series of videos and statements on her boundaries when it comes to fans. It's no wonder Miss Moan wishes the spotlight would shift away from her every move. Well, girl, like I said, be careful what you wish for, because you keep putting this out here. These fans will honor your wishes and shift this stuff. Shift this shit. They're going to shift away from your every move. And then you're going to get mad because you're not getting all the fame. You're not getting all the accolades, all the things that you was enjoying. Now they're going to leave you alone. And then what? They're going to stop buying your music. They're going to stop supporting you because they feel like all this lady do is complain. Now, Following the release of her initially little-known debut album, The Rise and Fall of the Midwest Princess, last September, the star has since seen the album and herself gaining international recognition and reaching the #1 spot on the UK albums chart almost a year after its release, and same in America. The 2025 Grammy nominations have yet to be announced, but given Roan's exponential success, a slew of nods wouldn't be that far-fetched, but perhaps unsurprisingly, given her boundaries when it comes to fame, the Good Luck Babe singer is hoping that she doesn't walk away with a gold-plated gramophone. Now, in an interview with the Face magazine, because it seemed like that's what it was, this is her bitch, I'm on my bitchiness tour. Because I'm on my bitch and moan tour, that's what we'll call it. Because in the Face magazine, not only was she bitching and moaning about the way the fandom and some of these people be treating her, and the men that she said clearly wasn't her fans when they wanted her autograph at the airport was being disrespectful when she declined because she said she knew they weren't fans. We're going to add to it. So she basically said the following. She said, I'm kind of hoping I don't win because then everyone will get off my ass. Guys, we did it and we didn't win. Bye. This is the part where you need to keep that inner part of yourself to yourself. Because you can say that out loud. But here's the thing. Miss Mama's got bipolar too. She has been open about it. So I understand that you have mental health issues and you're trying to figure out how to navigate through this world or whatever the case is. But maybe you need to do like Mariah Carey X, the billionaire who walks around with a nurse 24/7 to help monitor his, situation and give him his medication. Yeah, and look, because at this point, I understand, like, it's just hard for me to like put this into words because I just feel like I get that you're going through some things and all this other stuff, but there's certain things that you need to keep to yourself. I do wonder if this is a form of self-sabotage because, I will say this. There have been times when I see success coming and the tide is turning and things are changing, and I will do things, maybe not even intentionally, that will sabotage my blessings. I have done that in the past. I work through it. I don't do it now. I don't run away from it anymore. Now I'm at a point where I can just face it head on. But I do wonder with her, is this pretty much self-sabotage on her part? So I do wonder in regards to that, if that's what she's doing at this one, because that's what it does feel like. And I've heard, I don't even know, I don't want to sit out here and act like I know anything about bipolar 2 diagnoses, but I wonder if that is a symptom of when you have those moments of, you have your highs and then you have your lowest of lows, if this is a symptom of that. But then she goes and says, the ambition is, how do I not hate myself, my job, my life, and do this? She said, because right now it's not working. I'm just scrambling to try to feel healthy. So, like I said, I like the music, but Chappell, with all this complaining that you're doing, girl, you're starting to get on my damn root canal nerve, and I need you to relax. So I understand, look, with every great perky situation that you go through, all the accolades, all the fame and everything that you get, there is a downside to every side of what you're dealing with. And yeah, there is a downside to all of this. And everything is not going to be copacetic. Everything is not going to be peaches and cream. There are going to be dark sides of the industry that you're just going to have to deal with. Sorry, that's just the way it is. But now the question is, how do you deal with it? That's basically, and how do you come out of the other side of that? So that's what she needs to figure out, instead of getting on social media or getting into these magazines and always complaining, because people are going to start looking at it as like, sis, you be just being flat out ungrateful for the blessings that you've worked so hard to achieve. You wanted this stuff. So now that you're getting it, now you're kind of like just, oh, I didn't know it was going to be like, and that's perfectly fine. You could feel that way about that, but I didn't want all of this. I didn't expect it was going to be like this. No one knows the level or the magnitude of when you get the fame finally, what it would feel like. We all could sit up here and look, well, I can't wait to become famous. I can't wait to get this, this, and this. And then it's like, because you got your own mindset of what you think it's going to be. And then the reality hit versus the fantasy. It's like, oh, shit. I wasn't expecting it to be like this. But then when you get to that point, you have to figure out, now, how do I work through it? How do I power through it? How do I not let the fame and the dark side of the fame take me down and destroy me. You have to figure out how to work through that. And the good thing is she's had some people who have come in her corner that have spoke about this and helped her out and try to help her navigate and give her the tools. Now, I know some people was mad because they were like, well, how come the boys ain't speaking up? How come the boys ain't really be giving out? And that's a shame. I think it's probably because the way dudes are, how men acquire fame is totally different than how women deal with it. Especially when it comes to misogyny, sexuality, all that other stuff. So guys, the way men deal with fame is completely different than how women acquire and deal with fame. So I don't even think like a guy's perspective would be able to help Chappell through her situation. So yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing that other women are coming forth and being like, this is what I've dealt, I understand where you're coming from, and this is what I did to help myself get through that situation. So there you have that. Now, what are your thoughts on, I asked you this, what are your thoughts on the situation? Whatever your thoughts are on this topic, excuse me, let me know what you think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, so you said the United States, you cannot just be pretty or handsome. You actually do really have to know how to act and take the time to learn the craft. And I think that is when it comes to American actors, a lot of people, I think, don't realize, trying to find the words, that when it comes to a lot of British actors, a lot of them go through the ringer of, they take years of training. They go and they learn the craft of like stage acting, and then they transition into like movies, and they can do both. When you do theater and you do acting, we've seen Tom Holland was just doing Romeo and Juliet, which he got controversy for because they all made Juliet black. So when you got people out here saying, oh, all he does is Spider-Man, I was like, well, clearly you haven't been paying attention to his career, because Tom Holland been doing a whole bunch of other things, and that's the way it is with a lot of them. A lot of the Brits, they do theater at the West End, and sometimes over here on Broadway, off Broadway or on Broadway, if you could sing, and then they do the movies. In America, it's like you either are, and there's very few that do both, where it's Broadway and then movies. But then there's some that's like, you're a movie star, and then there's some that are just actors. So yeah. Chappell moan cracks me up. She's not playing with these fools trying to impede her art. But look, my thing is this: if you want to be an artist, be an artist. There's nothing wrong with somebody who just wants to get on stage, showcase their art, perform for their fans, and go home. But if that's what you want to do, then do that. But don't go and be like, you want to be an artist and you don't want people to impede on your art. But then go and want to do the VMAs and possibly the Grammys, perform there, because I have a feeling she will be performing and she will get nominated. And then, or you want to do the Face, or you want to do Rolling Stone, you want to do all these other things. That comes with the gig. If you want to promote your stuff, you got to do the magazines. You have to do the interviews. That's part of the gig. When you're on a red carpet, that's part of the job. You're working. So those are the things you have to do when you're part. It comes with the territory. Every celebrity does it. Now, if you want to be that girl that just, comes out and you want to be Bjork and just come out and just sing your little songs, wear your kooky outfits, and then go home, then do that. But I just feel like she just tries to straddle both sides and wants to have her cake and eat it. And you can't. You got to figure it out. You can't sit and bitch and moan about all the success when you wanted it. I also think there's more people that feel this way that just don't say anything. I did see the story about Mr. Beast. I have talked about that too. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about how there was an Amazon show where they said that a lot of the contestants were working under really bad conditions. And if you're non-union, they will take advantage of you a lot like that in a lot of ways. Why you think with all them lawsuits coming out with Bravo? So yeah, there is that. But I was reading about that. I was actually gonna cover that story, but I'll probably save it for tomorrow, because I'm gonna do another show tomorrow around the same time. And so I've watched a lot of other films has done, but they don't stick or have. Oh, you're talking about Tom has done, but they don't have. Yeah, that's true. He does a lot of these films or whatever, but it's like, yeah, outside of the Spider-Man stuff, it doesn't work. And I feel like maybe he's been typecast and that works against him, or maybe it's the baby face that works against him as well. He's like pushing 30 and he still looks 12. And that's not his fault. He got good genes, but But anyway, so now let's move on. Let's talk about Miss Plain Jane, who's starting her mess again. So RuPaul's Drag Race firebrand Plain Jane has blasted the Emmy Awards after the Traitors beat Drag Race to win Outstanding Reality Television Competition Series. I was like, let me hold that because I do have a TMZ video where they were interviewed, so I wanted to pull that up real quick. Now, since its 10th season, the RuPaul-fronted reality behemoth's flagship franchise has snatched the Emmy for Outstanding Reality Competition Series for every installment, outside from season 14. Now, at this year's Emmy Awards, season 16 became the second season since 2018 to miss out on the accolade, losing to the American version of The Traitors. Speaking of TMZ after the ceremony, alongside one of season 16's Miss Congeniality, Tsunami Muse, the undisputed villain of the season, Plain Jane, had some choice words for the choice of winner. So, like I said, I do have the clip from TMZ. We're going to pull that up right now, and then we'll come back, and then we'll talk. Please hold.
How did it go in the Emmys today?
Girl, the Emmys were sickening. RuPaul's Drag Race was robbed. Okay.
Very bad.
Why?
Why?
Yeah,
Bitch, I don't fucking know. Because we're a legacy show at this point. Okay. We've been winning the Emmys consecutively. Year after year. They had to give the new up and comers a spot. Okay. But everybody knows
that
Drag Race is
It's
the
that
A,
girl.
the B, the C, and the T. Okay. I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss for
You
you,
are,
TMZ.
you are, you
Okay,
are.
the
They'll be
motherfucking
back.
T. Okay, so and it's because of us girls. Okay, not those other girls. Us too, right here. Miss Congeniality and the true winner.
Okay, girl, I see exactly what she's trying to do. Like, you're trying to stir the pot and be messy. But Plain Jane, have a seat. Number one, Drag Race season 16 was cute. You know, I was really rooting for my girl Saphira to win, but we already know what happened. Like, they gave it to the Banana Queen. They gave it to her. It was cute or whatever. Some people felt like there wasn't anything there that even remotely felt like she should have won, but that was a decision. It's good that we got an East Asian girl that won the season. Kudos to her. Plain Jane, you know, the way she was coming across in the show, it always felt like it was very performative, and she was trying so hard to be the villain. She was trying to give us Fifi. She was trying to give us, you know, messy drag queen drama. It felt very forced and contrived. It didn't feel natural. Like she was trying to give us Mistress Isabel Brooks, but Mistress knew how to bring it during the show. So whenever this girl tries, it just don't land. Now I will say about this horrible drag plastic surgery look. What's that witch's name that just recently came out as that's a racist that's even more like she's more racist than Marjorie Taylor. Like I even had Marjorie Taylor Greene gagging. That's what she looked like. Let's pull up a full version of this photo. She looked like her, a mess. Like, you know, I've always been fascinated. Somebody said Hakamora. As an was it Kimora Black? How she was giving that overall look? She's giving Pete Burns with the big titties. I mean, with the overall plastic surgery, very Jocelyn Wintelstein. And I always like over exaggerated plastic surgery. I'm always fascinated by that. And I know like it's all just the makeup or whatever the case is, but that's what she's giving in regards of this look. But for what she said, I don't know if she was probably just being silly and trying to be funny with it, or maybe she wasn't. Maybe she was being shady. But here's the thing. Drag Race may have been the A, the B, the C, and the T. But to be honest, Drag Race ain't really been bringing it in a long time. Like, I feel like y'all been phoning it in. There's been a lot of overall fan complaints regarding of the producer edits of the show, the favoritism edits, that a lot of it feels contrived and you know, it just doesn't feel like a fun, natural, just like it doesn't give us what we used to get back in the days when the show was on Logo, when the show was still in the trenches, when it was still coming up, but it was still thoroughly entertaining based on the little budget that they've had. But the more Emmy Awards, the more money that's thrown at the show and all this other stuff, it feels like that Drag Race has lost its muster. And maybe this will be the wake-up call that they need to really like step their pussy up, stop with the overproducing. RuPaul needs to stop phoning it in on that damn stage and really give, you know, full-fledged critiques and stop with the favoritism. So I'm sorry, but The Traitors was the better show. I mean, I was thoroughly entertained by season 16 for the most part, but to be honest, as someone who loves The Traitors and that all the conniving and stuff that was going on, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now I do have some tea that y'all gonna hear exclusively in regards of Drag Race season 17. Now I heard that the new season is set to premiere January 3rd. And they're gonna be doing, of course, the premiere around, of course, in December or whatever the case is. They're going to do the whole red carpet stuff. So a friend of mine said he got to come to New York a little bit early because of it. But yeah, January 3rd is when they're going to be premiering the new season of season 17. So it's already, well, it hasn't been put out there, but I heard this from someone that's in the know, that's in the industry yesterday. So y'all got the exclusive here today. So that's what I was going to say. It's like, yeah, Miss Mamas, you was out here trying to be messy and whatever, girl. I'm not buying it. It's like, yeah, of course she's gonna windmill and hard for Drag Race because she was a part of it, and you probably mad because y'all not gonna walk away with an Emmy. But maybe y'all need to stop being so damn fake and phony with these shows and really give us, a real competition. So I said, let's say, what do y'all think of this story? Do y'all feel that the show was snubbed and that the Traitors shouldn't have won, that Drag Race was robbed? So whatever your thoughts are, but and then it also plays into the whole thing about some of them saying, "Oh well, the Drag Race girls just walked out because they didn't win," and then you got Plain Jane playing into that. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. He said you should make a T video about the premiere date. Probably bring a number. Well, I'll probably do like a quick little TikTok about in regards of the premiere date and when it's coming in, so that I could do like a quick one with a green screen background, all that good stuff. I'll make it fancy. So let's move on to another Drag Race girl. Let's talk about Bob the Drag Queen, who had a clap back at a bunch of damn trolls on social media who was telling her to stay away from the children's. Fuck your kids, in the words of Lil Nas X. So RuPaul's Drag Race Season 8 champ Bob the Drag Queen has said what all drag performers are thinking: keep your kids away from their shows. Now, while promoting her current comedy tour, This Is Wild, on social media, a handful of miserable and misinformed bigots decided to leap into Bob's comments and demand she not be around kids. Now, here's the thing. I have been seeing like promos, especially on YouTube. Like I've been watching little clips of her tour, and it's been pretty funny. And it's definitely a show I want to check out. I'm still mad that I didn't even get to see Sasha Velour's show. I think it just ended, but I would love to see Bob the Drag Queen, and I definitely want to see Bianca Del Rio's show. I do definitely want to be getting out to see a lot of these drag shows, but I just be so damn busy, I don't be having the time. So the false narrative, one of the things that we need to talk about, like, I'm so sick and tired of you I'm trying to curb my mouth. I'm tired of you freaking bigots always trying to use this tired ass trope, these things about how we out here grooming kids. And this is a trope that a lot of these bigots and politicians and stuff have been throwing around for eons, and more so than recently than anything. And so we also have, and it's a lot of Republican U.S. states that are doing this, especially with the recent rise of anti-drag bills. What all these drag queens want to do is perform. It's like, yeah, you have some people that do drag queen story hour and this, that, and the other. My friend Harmonica Sunbeam, shout out to her. She was doing drag queen story hours in Jersey and in other places. There are some that do that, but drag is not necessarily for kids. Maybe the fact of the matter is that you have Drag Race pandering to try to get go younger and younger and younger. But that's the network. That's the network always trying to push out those who were with shows from the beginning because they keep thinking younger demographic means, ratings, better situations. When it's like older people love drag and Drag Race too. I've been, I'm not old by any means, but I've been an avid drag fan long before Drag Race was even on TV. With a lot of my drag friends. Shout out to Lady Bunny being one of them. So, they all said the false narrative, it said that states including Tennessee and Texas have tried to bring in laws that would prevent drag shows from being performed in public or where they could be seen by minors. The right-wing rhetoric is pervasive on social media, with drag performers frequently inundated with trolls telling them to stay away from children, despite them very firmly not wanting kids at their shows. And this is something that a lot of drag artists have been going for, but I feel like if you care so much about these damn kids with drag queens, then where is that same energy when it comes down to kids getting pow-powed in school. And the bomb threats recently that's been going on in Oklahoma with this racist rhetoric from that asswipe and the one that wear all that, speaking of makeup and drag, JD Vance. He wear more makeup than plain Jane and got Mick combined. But you out here trying to read, these drag race girls, and it's like, but they're out here pushing this narrative that's causing bigots to get riled up and try to threaten the lives of other people because they're mad that they're losing the political race. So they try to distract you with all this foolishness. So Bob the drag queen took the TikTok and clapped back at one of the bigots online. There's 2 clips actually, so we'll get to one of them and we'll come back to the other. Please hold.
Thank you so much for your fake outrage and concern, Wolf Girl. And honestly, I'm glad our values align. I don't want to hang out with your kids. I really don't when I'm not remotely interested. As you can see here, my show is 18 and over. So no, there will not be any children in attendance at my show. You see, I'm not a babysitter, right? I'm not a daycare. So please don't bring your kids around me. I'm glad that we're on the same page about this. I mean, you have to pay someone like $45 an hour to hang out with your kids, so I certainly won't be doing it for free. Thanks. As you can see here in my analytics, the bulk of my followers, about half of them, 46%, are between the ages of 25 and 34 years old. So if you promise not to bring your snot-nosed, germ-infested little brats around me, I promise not to be around them. All right. Peace. Thank you so much for your concern. Oh, but those of you who want tickets, go to seethedragqueen.com. I'll see you in San Francisco.
So seethedragqueen.com. And here's the thing also, I think Bob and I share the same demographic because I've been checking my analytics, 25 to 34 basically followed by the 35 to 40, 44 or 45. So I'd be like, yeah, so we share the same demographic, and I do agree with that. Not all drag queens cater to kids. Like Bianca Del Rio definitely does not for kids. There may be some that, that are sort of like a Teletubby or a Mickey Mouse to the drag, of drag when it comes to the kids. But not all drag queens are like that. And I guess probably because of the influence of Drag Race and Drag Queen Story Hour and all this other stuff, this is what they want to focus on. But Bob also had this to say in this clip. Please hold for that.
Girl, fuck them kids and fuck you too.
So yeah, she said, fuck them kids and fuck you too. So I feel like, exactly, that's how I feel about it. Fuck them kids and fuck you too. And you know what? We just need, and you already know that Bob is a political queen. So regardless of how it is, you just gonna need more people like her who have the balls to speak out. I ain't got time to sit up out here and comment, oh no, we don't wanna go near your kids. We don't wanna. It's like, fuck all that. I'm just gonna, take rip the band-aid off and cuss your ass out. That's how I see it. So anyway, I still listen to say, what do y'all think of this story? Of course, I'm Team Bob. I'm not being biased because I've interviewed her before, but excuse me, I love Bob. I love Bob's season. And she said what she said. And it's like, yeah, don't bring your kids to my establishment. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, so now let's move on to our next topic, and let's talk about Agatha All Along's Joe Locke, who is set to make his debut on Agatha All Along, which is set to premiere later today on Disney Plus. And he's also opening up, which I'm hearing is getting pretty good reviews. I'm hearing this being compared to like Hocus Pocus, which, honey, let me tell you, Hocus Pocus is like one of my all-time favorite movies as a kid growing up. So it's being compared to that in some sort of ways. And he's opening up about how he feels Disney has been behind the times in regards of LGBTQ plus representation. And I'm sure Glad would agree with him because Glad just had this little thing where they did like the urban festival type situation. I'm like, okay, so where's my invite? And why am I just down here about? I know Victor Yates was there last year, but if y'all not reaching out to those of us who are actually the movers and the shakers of working within the queer people of color space, then where's our invites? Why are we not getting invited to these establishments? But I digress. Let's continue. So I got my gripes with y'all, Glad. So Agatha All Along star Joe Locke has said that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is behind the times when it comes to LGBTQ plus representation on screen. With 34 films having been released since 2008's Iron Man and another 10 television series, excluding, should say, because they do have a queer character on there, and I do believe that Joe Locke is playing a queer witch, which I guess they will call them warlocks. Well, Agatha All Along, the MCU is lackluster when it comes to LGBTQ plus characters, to say the least. And I guess because of that, because remember, we have had queer characters on there, but they kind of just get reduced to background fodder. Like we had a queer character, Haas Sleeman, who was in The Eternals, who was married to Brian Tyree Henry, but he was background noise at that point. And then also you have what was it? Valkyrie was supposed to have a girlfriend. They pretty much didn't go into that. One of the Russo brothers played a gay character in a rehab type of situation in Endgame. But that I'm not saying that we need to show people eating each other's ass and doing all other stuff in a Disney movie. That's not what we're saying. We just want the queer representation. Like, show that there's a queer character, that we just like everybody else. It just so happens we're gay. And we have superpowers, or we're a superhero. We do other things. We do the same things y'all do, except we just are into people of the same sex. So the article points this out because it said Thor Ragnarok's Valkyrie is canonically, whatever. She's bisexual, child. Just why? You know what? One thing I hate about articles, y'all always be why do you always have to feel like y'all need to crack the thesaurus open to write a certain word just so y'all can prove how smart y'all are? But miss me with the goddamn pretentiousness and a lot of you writers. But anyway, so Valkyrie is, as y'all know, is bisexual, but kissing scene was cut from the 2017 film. Eternals character Phastos, played by Brian Tyree Henry. It's funny how I didn't read this article and I was pointing this out to y'all. Was the first out and proud gay superhero, and plans for a sequel have since been scrapped. Well, no shade, but Eternals is kind of boring. And it was too long. I couldn't get into it. There were moments I liked. And oh my God, what's his name? The actor that plays Rob Starr. I think he is so damn sexy. I know he's in a new show too. I like looking at him. Even a blink and you miss it moment between Michael Cole's, it's Michaela Cole. Here we go with the butcherization. She was a member of the Dora Milaje, and she had a girlfriend. Ended up on the cutting room floor in some territories. It's no surprise, probably China. It's no surprise, therefore, that Joe Locke, who plays the ambiguously named Teen, and I guess what it is, we're going to find out who he plays, because there's been skepticisms and people, speculating online of who he's playing. But we'll find out. We watch the show later. In WandaVision spinoff, Agatha All Along has termed the franchise as behind the times. Speaking of Digital Spy, the Heartstopper star explained, "It's great. I think Marvel has been behind the times in bringing in queer characters, which is more because the characters and their stories don't really delve into their personal lives as much. Teen has been confirmed by Locke to be openly queer, with that part of his identity integral to his character, something that Locke is proud of." He says, "What I love about Teen is his queerness is a big part of him and is celebrated, but also not the only facet of him. He's got lots and lots of sides of his personality, which is really great." And I think that's what basically we want in regards of when we tell these stories. Yeah, part of us being queer, that's a part of who we are. It's not all of who we are, but it's a part of us. But then you also get to see these multifaceted sides of who we are as artists when we play these queer characters. And to have that celebrated in a series, that's the most important thing. So when people run around here trying to say that what we're trying to do is recruit your kids, that we're trying to convert people to homosexuality, I said, no, we can't do that. Y'all do that with religion and all that other stuff. Y'all convert people. You can't convert people into wanting to sleep with you. They're gonna be into you if they into you, unless you were in a place of power and you a Diddy, or you are that dude from the Abercrombie and Fitch, where it's like you purposely go after straight boys because you have that power and you can influence them to do whatever the hell you want in a quid pro quo type of situation. That's something different. That's just abuse. But you cannot convert people to being gay or lesbian or trans or bisexual, unless that's something you into. But also, I do think that there's a lot of queerness in witches, and being a witch, being the other, you're cast out by nature and you're pushed aside for many reasons. And I think also when it comes to those type of characters, a lot of queer people resonate with that. That's why I think, like, out of all the genres of music, LGBTQ plus queer people, whatever you want to call it, resonate more with horror because of that. I was just watching this episode yesterday on Shudder, where they've been breaking down like the queerness, I mean not queerness and horror, but just like horror movies, and they were talking about they had the Boulay brothers, because you know they're part of Shudder, and a bunch of other stuff. So they were talking about like horror comedies, and they were particularly talking about shows like, well, not shows, but movies like Addams Family Values, which you know is one of my all-time favorite movies. I love Addams Family Values. You already know Wednesday is my favorite character, but I think a lot of us growing up, we resonated more with that character. And same with when you watch Beetlejuice, we love Lydia because she was, you know, the first goth girl or whatever. And it was about how like queer people resonate more with horror because we could see a lot of ourselves in these other characters, meaning what they were talking about, the other. So I'm sure that the gays will be living for Agatha all along. It's definitely going to be like a classic amongst the queer community when it airs. So, you know, and also one of the things we can relate to with queer people is that we create our own community. And that I think that's what happens when you're an outsider and when you're a witch, is that you create your own community. And so I could definitely see that. So yeah. So I'm definitely with him on this. And I do agree that, you know what, Disney needs to do better in regards of queer representation. But I feel like a lot of times they don't really want to go there because they worry so much about, well, we need to hit all these markets and we really need to like, oh, there's certain markets outside the United States that's against homosexuality. So we really can't be that representation. And Disney, I feel like, has backed themselves into a corner because they're image and reputation is more or less all about family, entertainment, wholesome, whatever. So you don't think that there's gays out here representing, I was going to say represent, raising kids, that there aren't queer families, that there aren't kids who are growing up gay that want to see somebody within these characters that they identify with. So I just feel like that, you know what, that's why it comes to us as artists. We got to continue to push these companies to do better in regards to the representation. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. I don't know why they couldn't just say canon. Canonically. I don't know why I couldn't say the word. And it's like the thing with LGBTQ representation is that unless it's done accurately and realistically, it gets stale and becomes the GBF stereotype. Exactly. That's why a friend of mine was telling me yesterday, because when he told me he was at a GLAAD event, I kind of just rolled my eyes like, whatever, child. He's like, what's wrong with them? And I was just like, don't even get me started in my grievances over GLAAD and how a lot of these organizations are, especially how I don't even want to get into the politics of a lot of these organizations, these nonprofits. But I was pretty much saying that he was like, oh yeah, but they're you know, that I guess when you're a writer and you do a lot of shows where you have queer characters, they have to go through GLAAD in order to get an approval. I'm like, well, why don't they just hire queer people who relate and write these stories? It's the same thing we was talking about. What's his name from Reservation Dogs? What's his name? The Phoenix Wunatai? I probably messed up his name, but Wunatai, let's call him that. That showed up on the red carpet with the red, you know, hand across his face. And he was talking about the one thing he loved about Reservation Dogs, that everybody in the writer's room were indigenous. They were, you know, he could relate to the character because, you know, the character Bear that he played, because basically you had these people who had these experiences who were writing these stories. So y'all need to start hiring people who can relate in those ways and putting their story and what they've gone through in life and incorporate it into these characters, and not have some straight person in the room who thinks they understand what gay is writing for these characters. Agatha Olon seems boring, no shade. I'm not watching. Well, I did hear that it's a slow burn. That some people was like, one person did have that was a criticism of one person saying they feel it was a slow burn. Because I had some Jamaican food last night. I sat on a toilet. Ew. Why are you telling me this? Well, look, you had that racist bitch that was talking about that the White House gonna smell like curry when Kamala Harris get up in there, and then you had JD Vance laughing it off. And I'm wondering, how does his wife just put up with that? I guess when your ass colonized, you just put up with whatever. Your husband's a flat out racist against your own people, and you just not saying a word. anything to win, right? Something came out today. I don't know who said it, but they said something along the lines of the poor response to the Lightyear movie was because of the same-sex kid. Well, yeah, we do hear a lot of that, you know, woke and all that other crap. And it's like, I just don't understand people who have a problem with diversity. And to me, it's like, I want diversity and stuff, but it's got to feel organic. It's got to feel natural. Don't just throw something in there because you're trying to check a box. And I feel like that's my issue that I have with a lot of these movies, is that I feel like y'all just trying to hit a quota. You're trying to check a box instead of just naturally putting these characters in and make us feel like there's some representation there and it feels natural. And it's like y'all just throwing it up in it. Yeah, they are terrible. Like, they genuinely make me angry, and I hope to see their downfall. So is Pink News, which is funny enough where I got that story from. It's funny how I said I was going to be using it as a reference no more, but they be having stories that I'm interested in. I mean, that's interesting to bring up on the show. And JD Vance has a child named Cheryl. And don't even get us started on the other Vivek, that big-headed heifer that was out here embarrassing himself, you know, licking Trump's stank-ass taint, and still didn't get picked as the VP nominee. Him and Gums. I know I'm talking about the one that pretending he got that white woman and they getting married. He'll be a forever bachelor. But anyway, let's get to our final topic. Let's talk about Troye Sivan, who you know, is currently on the joint sweat tour with Charli XCX. And, you know, Brat Summer's coming to an end. It's about to be fall in a couple of days. Virgo season is about to come to an end, unfortunately. It's about to bring in these Libras. So they said that despite the North American tour dates being 95% sold out, aside from Nashville, which is 78% sold out, I kind of feel bad. But look, the one thing I will give to them, because I was a little bit worried about the sweat tour, I do like the idea that it's 95% sold out. 95% sold out is better than 60. That's bad. Like, I'm glad you're not having Jennifer Lopez type situation where it's like you had to cancel the tour because you really wasn't selling nowhere. I mean, of course, New York is New York, but outside of that, at least they're selling. But they're having a difficult time with Nashville. Well, maybe there's not a lot of gays in Nashville. But, you know, this is according to someone, a gossip column claimed that he is just happy to be on the road and hitting grinder at every stop. So I don't know if maybe that was being you know, they were trying to joke around or whatever, but it does come across a bit homophobic, if you think about it. So the gossip claim continues. Sivan's label doesn't contribute at all to his tour, so he doesn't really care about sales. If the ticket sales don't increase, the label is likely to pull the plug. Really? Because if they're currently touring, how are they going to pull the plug? And where's all this money coming from? Are you saying that he's paying for all this on his own? Oh, wait a minute. Now there's a TikTok video. I want to pull that up. I was like, oh yeah. Right. Okay, shut up. Okay, so before we get to that, just hold on a second. So they said on September 15th, Sivan responded to the claims and they since deleted TikTok from the Celebrity Blind Items account, Celebrity Blinds. Who wrote that? Sloan, because I know he'd be notorious for doing them blind items over on his page. I heard he's messy too. I mean, with his long ass chin, he would be. But anyway, they said if the ticket sales, they were talking about the ticket sales, and he was always saying this. And then he said something another, straight people are getting way too comfortable. Charli and I are playing 22 shows across the country, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So we do have the clip. We're going to go to that, and then we'll come back. Please hold.
Hitting grinder at every stop.
Straight people are getting way too comfortable. I released an album. I am touring the album with Charli XCX. We are playing 22 shows across the country that are 95% sold out, by the way. The only city that we're flopping in is Nashville, and it's at 78%. But to say that I am touring the country to go on Grindr at every stop, like, that's genuinely homophobic. It's like a stereotype. Don't sex shame me. First of all, I don't need to travel the country to get laid. I can get laid wherever I want. I can get laid in LA. I'm going on tour because I released an album and because people are buying tickets to come to see the show. So, fuck you. Also, If you, this is not for her, this is just like a general note. If you say twink where you meant to say faggot, that's still a slur. That's like our word. I don't think straight people should be using that.
Is just happy to be on the road.
Exactly. So he's like, yeah, straight people shouldn't be using the F word. But then again, some people was like, but wait a minute, didn't you just give Charlie XCX permission to use it? But here's the thing. When it comes to that, I'm actually team Troye on that, because when I'm amongst my friends, hey faggot, hey bitch, or whatever, all the other stuff, when you amongst friends, close friends, I don't mind you using the word, because we have a rapport and we understand. Now, anybody outside that situation, outside that circle, no ma'am, you cannot use the word. And I do agree that straight people shouldn't be using it. It's like, no, you don't get to. Just like if you're not a person of color, if you're not black, you cannot say the N word. Because we've taken that word and we've turned it into something and we've reappropriated it. We've turned a negative to a positive. It's the same thing with, the word bitch, the N word, and, the F word. When you're amongst certain people, I know there's some people that's not comfortable with it, and that's fine. Then you let people know your boundaries. Don't call me that word. And then I'll respect that. But there's a drag queen, by the way, named I Respect Her. I Respect Her. So it's put it together, I respect her. So that's why I was just like, but anyway, get back to this. I also love the fact that Troye was open and honest about the fact that we're pretty much 95% sold out everywhere else. A couple of those tickets. People probably just wait until the last minute for them ticket sales to drop and buy a ticket at the last minute. But Nashville is the only place that they're flopping, and I understand that. But if y'all have to take an L on one spot, I take that. I'll be like, well, fuck it. Let's just cancel it, get the refund, whatever the case is, or just keep trooping on and perform 78% capacity, which might not be a good thing. But look, if the tour is doing well everywhere else, and based off the clips that I've seen online, it does look like a pretty good show. And why I said I'm looking forward to playing that show. Working that show next week. So, he is right. He is currently on tour because he's promoting an album. Just like he was promoting his album when he was overseas and he did the solo thing. Now, I feel like he's taken a lot of that, what we saw from that show, and he's incorporated it into the Sweat tour. And Charli is doing her thing. So I don't understand why they're going in on him and, not everybody else. So, like I said, good luck to you, Charli. Good luck to you, Troye. I'm glad that you feel the need to come up and stand up for yourself and go in on that bigot who said what they said. So I say, well, let's say, what do y'all think of this story? For those of you out there who got tickets, are you excited to see them when they come up in your city? Have you seen the show already? I know they just recently was in Canada or whatever. I think that was their last show. What did y'all think of the show? Was the show good? Are people getting their money's worth? I've seen some of the clips online, but I know it's not the same as like when you do a show in person. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. He said, not gums. Well, that's what he giving. He give more gums than teeth. Are you into advanced astrology, house placements, moon sign? I do believe, yeah, I am into advanced astrology. It's funny because a friend of mine was showing me this app that I was using when I was, a coworker. She's not really a friend, but she was a coworker at, when I was working in the hospital. And she had me on this app, and I can't remember what it was. And I'm so mad because I don't have it. But it really broke down my chart and everything and let me know what my moon was, all the planet rulerships and all that other stuff. And I was really fascinated. So I definitely do get deep into astrology. And I'm like, this makes perfect sense. Why the way I am. I don't think straight people should be using that word. Yeah. But like I said, it depends on the situation. Like, yeah, me personally, I don't let my straight girlfriends do not use that F word. Now, my gay friends amongst each other, like we use it amongst each other. But women, I do draw the line with that. So I don't like the idea of like straight people using the word. But I was like, look, Troye letting Charli, that's between them. And I guess because they're from the same, like they're in the same age bracket, it's, the way they see it is different than the way our generation sees it. So, I don't know what else to say on it. But anyway, let me get out of here because I got to go. I want to get to the gym real quick and then I got to go run to work and work this show tonight. So Thank you all for tuning in. I will be back on tomorrow, same time. I'll probably do a show 11:15. 11:20-ish, give or take. So so that way, you know, I can keep feeding this algorithm, child. So those of you, thank you all for tuning in. Tune in tomorrow for a brand new episode of Chris Savile Unfiltered. Thank you everybody that was in the comments chatting along with me. That's why I love doing the live show, because I do this show for y'all. I love the you know, the banter, the interaction. But for those of you who are new or who haven't already, please do me a solid and hit that like button, that subscribe, and also smash that notification button so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Savile Unfiltered. And yeah, love you all. And until